Chapter 1125. His Highness said that he wanted to become your disciple because he wanted to learn some skills, not because of his status. He didn't want to cause instability in the Qing Emperor's dynasty because of this. Summer City bowed and said, "Wise man, I didn't misjudge him. But His Highness is His Highness. No one can question this, and no one can change it." The Qing Emperor put down the document in his hand. The Azure Supreme the Arch was not a rash person. If he did not understand and was not confident, he would not easily accept a personal disciple. He knew everything about Yi Shang's past. What he wanted was a disciple like Yi Shang. "I understand." Summer City bowed and said, "Bring a small team of the Qing Emperor's guards to the 9-story tower. They will be Knight Soro's personal guards from now on. The normal guards of the 9-story tower will be transferred from the city guard army. As for the maids, you can make the arrangements. Also, announce to the world that Knight Soro is my disciple. If I don't give it to him, no one can have it. If I want to give it to him, he must accept it," the Qing Emperor said. Then, Xian Daozi and Summer City went to make the arrangements. The Qing Emperor trusted them the most when they were handling things. Xian Daozi and the Qing Emperor were good friends. He knew what the Qing Emperor was thinking. As long as the Qing Emperor expressed his intentions, he would help him deal with it. Be unspecified currency, unspecified currency, unspecified currency. Summer City was different. Summer City was the Qing Emperor's brother. They had fought side by side in the past, and their relationship was even deeper. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Summer City was the Qing Emperor's shadow. After the Qing Emperor's guard deployed a small team to the 9 grand floors to defend Summer City, they also deployed a small team from the Qing Emperor's city guard army before returning to the 9 grand floors. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, the Qing Emperor's guard was the power controlled by the Qing Emperor. Summer City was the highest leader of the Qing Emperor's city guards, which meant that only Summer City could mobilize them. Other people could not mobilize the Qing Emperor's guard and the city guards. At the same time, Xian Daozi also announced Knight Soro's situation. This news caused a huge commotion in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. The birth of a new prince would cause a huge conflict in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. It could be said that there would be a shift in power. The Qing Emperor was the most important person in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Her Highness was the second most important person in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. As soon as the news came out, many officials of the Qing Emperor's dynasty came to the 9 grand floors to visit Knight Soro. Knight Soro's way of dealing with things was to not meet anyone. He told Summer City that he was in seclusion. He did not want to participate in the core power of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. He did not want to at all. Yi Shang was indeed cultivating in seclusion. The 2 books that the Azure Supreme the Arch had given him were his cultivation experiences. One was his combat experience, and the other was his artifact forging and array formation experience. Both were the Azure Supreme Thearka's ultimate techniques. In the Qinglin Palace, Qinglin, who was wearing the Qinglin battle robe, was listening to his subordinate's report. "Your Highness, it seems that Knight Soro does not plan to step into the core power. Kongming, send people to keep an eye on him. He does not plan to do so now. But if he wants to, he can control the same power as me and Princess Qingyuan at any time, or even surpass it," Qinglin said to his subordinate. Kongming was a general of the Qinglin army. He was Qinglin's absolute confidant. Qinglin would let him handle some important matters. "Is there any way to destroy his prestige and His Majesty's trust in him?" Kongming asked. "We can't do that. We can't be hostile to him." The fact that the Azure the Arch Guard was sent to the 9 Chong Pagoda is an important signal. Father's intention is clear. Whoever dares to touch him, Father will do the same. "No one is allowed, including me," said Qinglin. Others might not know, but Qinglin knew about Knight Soro's situation. He knew how important Knight Soro was to the Qing Emperor's dynasty. He could affect the fate of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. In addition, the Qing Emperor's arrangements also let Qinglin know that Knight Soro was not only valuable to the Qing Emperor, but he also sincerely admired and liked him. At the same time, the Qing Emperor also got the news. This little guy is really not simple. What he did shows his attitude, mood, and state of mind. My prince and princess are not good enough. The Qing Emperor sighed with emotion. Strength is the foundation of everything. Many people don't understand this. I don't know whether Knight Sorrow has understood it, but what he is doing now is in line with the meaning of Tao, Xian Dozi said. Summer City is there, so there won't be any problems. That old guy is cruel and merciless. He won't let anyone touch Knight Sorrow. I'm going to cultivate in seclusion. If I can take one more step, I'll go and kill those bastards one by one. The Qing Emperor left after saying that. In the world of samsara, the leaders of the top forces were almost equal in strength. They were competing to see who could take the first step. Whoever could take another step forward would be able to change the current situation. Knight Sorrow cultivated in seclusion every day to learn the cultivation experience of the Qing Emperor. As he studied the Qing Emperor's handwritten letter, Knight Sorrow knew that the Qing Emperor had the space attribute. He even developed a unique skill, the Emperor Samsara Slash. However, the original version was the Great Emperor Samsara Slash that the Azure Supreme the Arch had mastered. Yi Shang could not cultivate it. The Great Emperor Samsara Slash that the Azure Supreme the Arch had cultivated was a supreme art that was formed by the fusion of the spatial attribute and the other 5 attributes. What Knight Sorrow wanted to do was to learn from it, not copy it step by step. He couldn't copy it because each attribute was different. The doppelganger studied the handwritten letter, and the original body began to analyze it. Then, the doppelganger practiced. After cultivating for 2 months, Knight Sorrow's doppelganger stopped cultivating. In the lobby of the 9-story building, Knight Sorrow saw Summer City, 2 men in armor, and a middle-aged woman. Greetings, Your Highness. Summer City led the 3 of them and bowed. Uncle Summer, you don't have to be so polite. Just call me Knight Sorrow, Knight Sorrow said. This is His Majesty's order. I can't go against it. One of them is the captain of the Qing Emperor's Guard, Fei Xiu. The other is the captain of the city guards, Shen Han. The other is the manager arranged by the Qing Emperor's palace, He Qiu. Summer City introduced the 2 men in armor and the middle-aged woman. Uncle Summer, you're an elder. You can arrange the matters in the 9-story building as you see fit. I'll go to the Green Phoenix Army later, Knight Sorrow said. Your Highness, there's one thing you don't know. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, Your Highness has the right to build and own an army, Summer City said. No need. I'd rather serve in the Green Phoenix Army. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He didn't have many thoughts about it. Fei Xiu, Shen Han, when Your Highness isn't here, you'll be in charge of everything in the 9-story building. You can't make any mistakes. If Your Highness doesn't see any guests, then the 9-story building won't receive any guests. If there are any trespassers, kill them on the spot, no matter who they are, Summer City said to Fei Xiu and Shen Han. Yes, old Summer. Don't worry. Fei Xiu and Shen Han nodded. Uncle Summer, you guys do what you need to do. I'll bring the 2 of them to the camp. Knight Sorrow pointed at Redcoat and Lan Ning. No need. The 3 of them can look after this place. I'll follow Your Highness. Summer City shook his head. Uncle Summer, you're an elder. You can't run around with me, Knight Sorrow said to Summer City. Chapter 1126. It's nothing. I'll follow you, Your Highness. I won't interfere with anything you do or bully anyone. However, I won't tolerate anyone who dares to bully you, Your Highness, Summer City said. Uncle Xia, I really don't want you to suffer because of me. Knight Sorrow looked at Summer City and said. He knew that Summer City was highly valued by the Qing Emperor. If he couldn't come here, he would have to suffer with him. It's nothing. It's our fortune that Your Highness can sympathize with the people around you. Summer City shook his head and said. Knight Sorrow sighed and didn't say anything more. He knew that Summer City was insistent. It was useless for him to object. It would be disrespectful. Looking at the people again, Night Sorrow took out 2 jars of wine and put them on the table. Night Sorrow is a cultivator from a small world. I'm indebted to Master for taking me in as his disciple. However, I'm still Night Sorrow. So, don't be too cautious. We're all family now that we're living in the same mansion. Night Sorrow opened the wine jar and poured a bowl for everyone. Thank you, Your Highness. Fei Xiu, Shenhan, and Yiqiu bowed to Night Sorrow with the wine bowl. Night Sorrow looked at Summer City with the wine bowl in his hand. Uncle Xia, you used to be comfortable with Master. Now that you're suffering with me, Night Sorrow, thank you. Night Sorrow finished his words and drank the wine in one gulp. Summer City drank the wine in the bowl and then looked at Fei Xiu and the other 2. You guys can go and arrange things. Uncle Xia, do you have something to say to Night Sorrow? Night Sorrow looked at Summer City, who sent Fei Xiu, Shenhan, and Yiqiu away. Yes, I have something to say to Your Highness. Even if Your Highness doesn't intend to touch the power of the Qing Emperor's dynasty, some people will still be hostile. The Qinglin Crown Prince and the Qingyuan Princess will have thoughts about it. Summer City said. I've thought about what Uncle Xia said. I'm going to the Qingyuan army now to show my attitude. I won't fight for anything. I just want to be myself and cultivate hard so that I won't disappoint Master. Night Sorrow said. Your Highness is right. Your Highness, Your Highness. Today, Your Highness, you're the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Your Highness, Your Highness, Your Highness, Your Highness. Your Highness, Your Highness's Highness. Your Highness's Highness, Your Highness. Perhaps. In. Highness, Your Highness. B. Highness. Thank you for your teachings, Uncle Xia. As long as Yi Shang is alive, I won't embarrass Master. Night Sorrow said. That's great. That's good. Actually, you just have to work hard on your cultivation. Status and position are all decided by strength and His Majesty. It's very important to take the right path. Your Highness' current path is the right one, Xiaqing said. Night Sorrow brought Summer City, Hong Yi, and Lanning to the Qingyuan palace. After asking around, they found out that the Qingyuan princess wasn't there. Night Sorrow and the others teleported to the Qingyuan army and went to their own tents. Night Sorrow then used his own tent to make a place for Summer City to rest. Night Sorrow respected Summer City. One reason was because Summer City was a respected elder. The other reason was because of what he said just now. When Night Sorrow was talking to Meng Dan, the Qingyuan princess arrived. Night Sorrow greets Your Highness, Qingyuan princess. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands. Summer City didn't stand up. She only nodded slightly. You can't call me that. You are my father's personal disciple and the 3rd princess of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. You can call Your Majesty senior sister. Qingyuan Palace Princess said. Night Sorrow doesn't dare. Night Sorrow only acknowledged a master. Everything else is secondary. Night Sorrow shook his head. Junior brother, you don't have to be so polite. Did you come back to explain something? Qingyuan Princess asked. Explain what? I came back to see if there's anything wrong in the camp. I haven't been in the Massacre God territory for a while. I didn't fulfill my duties as the deputy commander. Night Sorrow said. Junior brother, do you plan to continue staying in the Qingyuan army and don't have any thoughts of forming your own army? Qingyuan Princess looked at Night Sorrow's face, waiting for Night Sorrow's reply. She mainly wanted to see Night Sorrow's expression to determine if his words were true or false. No. It's better to be my deputy commander. There's no need to worry. If there's a war, I'll go to war. If there's no war, I'll cultivate steadily. Night Sorrow said. That's fine too. If there's anything, go to the Qingyuan army's tent or Qingyuan palace to find senior sister. Uncle Summer, Qingyuan will take her leave first. Qingyuan Princess nodded to Night Sorrow. She then cupped her hands toward Summer City and left. Summer City only nodded and didn't say anything. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, he only took orders from one person, and that was the Qing Emperor. Now, there was Night Sorrow. He didn't care about anyone else. Even if it was the crown prince and the princess, he didn't need to care about them. In the Qinghuan army's tent, Princess Qinghuan sat on the main seat. The 4 generals sat in 2 rows below. Night Sorrow has returned. As the 3rd majesty of the Qing Emperor's dynasty, he has returned to the massacring gods' territory. Princess Qinghuan narrowed her eyes and said, "As a majesty, doesn't he have the right to form an army? Why did he return?" Zhu Xuanjia asked in confusion. "That's right. This shouldn't be the case. Commanders are supposed to charge and break through enemy lines. As a majesty, there's no need for him to do this. Why would he do this?" Enchanting also didn't understand. Either he's not interested in power or he's biding his time. Your Majesty can't tell the difference. Princess Qinghuan shook her head. Isn't he afraid that someone will attack him? Zhu Xuanjia asked. Afraid? Now, whoever touches him will be unlucky. When the crown prince's brother was forming the army, father arranged Master Shengguanhong. When your Majesty was forming the army, father arranged Elder Zhua to assist your Majesty. Right now, the one beside him is Iron-Faced Divine Marquis Summer City. He's father's personal attendant and also the commander of the Qing Emperor's City Guard Army. Princess Qinghuan let out a breath. Iron-Faced Divine Marquis Summer City was very famous in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Even Crown Prince Qinglin and Princess Qinghuan had to respect him. Then what should we do? If this guy stays in the Qinghuan army, he'll be an unstable factor. Enchanting said. You're thinking too much. His Majesty Night Sorrow is the deputy commander of the Qinghuan army. He just returned to his position. It's not a big deal, right? Qin Leitang said. Night Sorrow was a soldier under his command. He didn't want to suspect anything. Actually, it's a good thing. Right now, no matter who wants to attack your Majesty or the Qinghuan army, they'll have to be more careful. After all, there are 2 majesties here. Leitang General, go back and make some arrangements. Night Sorrow's living conditions have to be changed. He's a deputy commander and also a majesty. Besides, Iron-Faced Divine Marquis is by his side. You can't slack off. Chapter 11:27. When the Qing Emperor taught his disciples and children, everyone taught different things. Back then, Zhang Tan practiced the Emperor's divine wind palm. Qing Lin practiced the Qing Emperor's divine Qilin sword cut. Qing Huan practiced the phoenix traversing the 9 heavens. Whether it was the Emperor's divine wind palm, divine Qilin sword cut, or phoenix traversing the 9 heavens, they were all skills that could allow one to fight above their level. Therefore, Qing Huan really wanted to know what Night Sorrow was learning, but she couldn't ask. Night Sorrow cultivated for 2 days. Qin Leitang arranged for people to bring Night Sorrow and the others to change their living quarters. They changed from tents to lofts. Only Qin Leitang received this treatment in the Leitang army. Qin Leitang didn't need to explain to anyone. Night Sorrow was the 3rd prince of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. This wasn't a secret in the Qinghuan army. It wasn't a big deal for a prince to have a special residence. His identity in Summer City wasn't a secret either. As the main body continued to cultivate, Night Sorrow's energy cultivation was getting closer and closer. This was the benefit of time acceleration. While cultivating, Night Sorrow was also studying the Emperor's reincarnation / in the Qing Emperor's letter. In fact, Night Sorrow had failed several times. The space attribute couldn't control the time and void attributes. No matter how they merged, it would collapse. After thinking for a long time, Night Sorrow decided to change his way of thinking. That was to use the void attribute as the main attribute. This way, he could control the time and space attributes. In order to cultivate the Emperor's reincarnation / Night Sorrow suppressed the will of space and time. He only merged the rules and energy. With the void rules and energy as the main attribute, he then merged the time and space rules and energy. It took Night Sorrow half a month to complete the fusion. After studying and understanding the Emperor's reincarnation / Night Sorrow couldn't use it. One reason was that it wasn't powerful enough now. Because he hadn't comprehended the void intent, the level was a bit low. Another reason was that he really didn't dare to expose this. Having stayed in the world of samsara for more than a day or two, Night Sorrow knew that there were still king with advanced attributes in the supreme world. The surface area of a supreme world was countless times that of a high-grade world, and the number of cultivators was countless times greater. In addition, the conditions were good, and with the accumulation of time, it wasn't strange for someone to be able to cultivate a high-grade will. While increasing his energy cultivation, Night Sorrow was also cultivating his realm. He wanted to increase his cultivation as soon as possible and then destroy the evil spirit king. Then, his true body could go to the samsara palace in the world of samsara to cultivate and comprehend the will of nothingness. The comprehension of the nihility will was the key to determining Night Sorrow's ultimate height. Night Sorrow's doppelganger studied the letter that the Qing Emperor had given him. Many questions that he didn't understand before became clear as he studied the letter. Your Highness, when will your true body come to the world of samsara? I'll go and pick him up. Nothing can happen to your true body, Summer City said as he looked at Night Sorrow who had finished cultivating his battle skills. Uncle Summer, I'm also in a hurry, but there's no other way. Night Sorrow explained his situation in the 9 regions world. The only authentic VZ, he was a pirate. So that's how it is. This leap is a little too big. Even with some auxiliary methods, it's difficult to kill someone with such a leap. Your Highness can only increase your own height. Oh right, after becoming a Highness, the Qing Emperor's dynasty will give your Highness 100 years of cultivation time in the Samsara Palace. If you need more time, you'll need to exchange for merit points, Summer City said to Night Sorrow. The stability of the 9 regions world is very important. My true body must guard it, Night Sorrow said. I know some of your information. It's too difficult to become a sector lord. Many monarchs can't do it. The world you belong to is very important to a sector lord. You must guard it, Summer City said to Night Sorrow. Thank you for your reminder, Uncle Summer. Night Sorrow saluted Summer City. You're welcome, Your Highness. Even if I didn't say it, Your Highness would know. Summer City shook his head. While they were talking, the Thunder Army's war drums sounded. Uncle Summer, wait for me here with red coat and blue shadow. I'll go and join the Thunder Army. After speaking, Night Sorrow left the attic and went to the Thunder Army's martial arts field. In the Thunder Army's martial arts field, the 4 armies had gathered. Princess Qing Wan and Qin Leitang stood on the high platform in front of the martial arts field. Everyone has rested for a long time. Now the warriors of the Dark Abyss have started to harass our Qing Emperor's dynasty's border again. Our Qing Wan army is guarding the area, so we're going to fight. Princess Qing Wan gave the order. Yes, Your Highness. Everyone waved their weapons. Night Sorrow stood in front of the Massacre God's territory and looked at Princess Qing Wan with Sky Splitter. Junior brother, do you plan to go too? Princess Qing Wan looked at Night Sorrow. I'm going. Night Sorrow looked at Princess Qing Wan for a moment and nodded. At this moment, Night Sorrow felt that Princess Qing Wan was really scheming. If she really didn't want him to go, she shouldn't have said it in front of others but in front of all the soldiers of the Thunder Army. Even if he didn't want to go, he had to go. If he didn't go, he would lose face. Most importantly, he would lose face for the Qing Emperor. In order to make things difficult for him, Princess Qing Wan even used the Qing Emperor's face as a weapon. This made Night Sorrow feel disgusted. Compared to when she recruited him, her attitude and demeanor were completely different. However, Night Sorrow could understand. In the past, when she recruited him, it didn't affect her own interests. But now, Night Sorrow was already a threat to her. After which, everyone led their men to prepare for departure. Qing Wan Palace Mistress came to Knight Sorrow's side. Junior brother, senior sister knew that you would definitely go, so I asked in front of the soldiers. This can also raise the morale and also give junior brother some prestige. So, don't mind it. Senior sister is thinking too much. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He even had a feeling that his thoughts were wrong. But Knight Sorrow knew that his first feeling wouldn't be wrong. In the pavilion, Summer City tapped his finger on the table. That's really the case. Hong Yi, La Ning, you guys stay here. I will secretly follow His Highness. Summer City knew that Knight Sorrow would be ostracized, but he didn't expect Princess Qing Wan to react so obviously. Now that Knight Sorrow was still in his growth stage, he had to secretly follow him. Otherwise, if something happened, he wouldn't be able to answer to the Qing Emperor. After returning to the Thunder Army's tent, Princess Qing Wan knew that what she said just now made Knight Sorrow unhappy. This was because after she asked, Knight Sorrow looked at her and hesitated for a moment. This was a reaction in his heart and a sign of resistance. Princess Qing Wan let out a breath. She knew that she was too emotional today. She really shouldn't have done that. In Princess Qing Wan's heart, if other princes received the title and power of His Highness, she could still accept it. After all, they were all her brothers. But Knight Sorrow was an outsider. After waiting for a while, the Thunder Army gathered and set off. This time, it was the Thunder Army of the Green Phoenix Army. The other 3 armies didn't go out. Because the Green Phoenix Army's camp was quite far from the border, the Thunder Army took 2 teleportation circles before arriving at the closest city. The 4th watch had arrived. Chapter 1128. In this city, the Thunder Army didn't stop at all and continued to advance. Meng Dan followed beside Knight Sorrow. Your Highness, this is your first battle. You don't understand the situation of the Dark Abyss, so you have to be careful. Thank you for your reminder, Commander Meng. I will be careful. Also, Commander Meng, you don't have to worry. Knight Sorrow is just an ordinary deputy commander in the Thunder Army. I will do what I should do. Knight Sorrow said to Meng Dan. He knew that his identity would bring some trouble to Meng Dan and the others. This was something he didn't want to see. Thank you, Your Highness. Meng Dan cupped his hands towards Knight Sorrow. At this moment, his heart was touched because Knight Sorrow's words were exactly what he was worried about. It's nothing. Knight Sorrow smiled at Meng Dan. We can fight side by side with Your Highness. Wu Jia was very happy. This time, Princess Qing Wan didn't come. The one leading the army was Qin Leitang. I am also looking forward to it. However, the days of us fighting together are still in the future. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Your Highness, you really don't have any plans to form an army? Qin Leitang, who was leading the way, asked. Yes, I just want to cultivate in peace. I've never thought about anything too complicated. Yi Sheng nodded. Your Highness' state of mind is too rare. Brothers. This time, we are fighting side by side with His Highness Knight Sorrow. Don't lose face. Qin Leitang turned around and shouted. Latest PQ new chapter top Q. The response to Qin Leitang was a wailing and howling. This group of people were all hot-blooded men. They liked Knight Sorrow's casual personality and attitude. Last time, we didn't let Your Highness drink well. This time, when we return, we will drink well with Your Highness. Wu Jia said. Sure, I'm just afraid that if you shout too loudly, you will cover your head and say that you are dizzy in the end. Knight Sorrow looked at Wu Jia and threw out a sentence that made many people laugh. Let's forget about last time, okay? Let's see next time. Wu Jia was embarrassed by Knight Sorrow's words. Everyone from the Massacre God's territory laughed heartily. Wu Jia looked at everyone. Laugh all you want. I don't care. If you have the ability, try His Highness's alcohol tolerance. This was the Massacre of God's territory. Since it was not the time to issue battle orders, everyone was more casual. After flying for 2 hours, Qin Leitang gave the order to set up camp on the spot. Following which, the combat scouts were sent out. It was Ah Chio's team. At this time, the sky was already dark. Night Sorrow set up a tent and lit a bonfire. His heart was a little restless, not because he was afraid, but because he was excited. Back then in the eastern Xian region, the scene of him fighting the demonic beasts in the dark space was similar to this. Meng Dan and Wu Jia came to Night Sorrow's side. Wu Jia took out some barbecued meat and heated it over the charcoal fire. "Your Highness, there's no need to worry. It's nothing. Our Thunderbolt Battalion has fought many battles like this in the past. As long as we don't get surrounded and don't go in alone, there won't be any problems," Wu Jia said. "General said that Your Highness has commanded several world wars. How could Your Highness be lacking in battle experience?" Meng Dan glanced at Wu Jia. "That's true. I'm just worried for nothing." Wu Jia nodded. 2 hours later, Chiu returned. However, she reported the specific results to Qin Leitang, so the others didn't know the specific situation. After hearing Chiu's report, Qin Leitang summoned the 4 battalions to gather. "We just found out that the level of the Dark Abyss warriors is average, but their numbers are terrifying. The difficulty of this battle is consumption. Alright, all commanders, set out with your troops. Advance 1,000 miles and come back alive." Qin Leitang took out a general token and activated it. Then, he issued the battle order. Every soldier in the Thunderbolt Battalion had an identity token. One of the functions of the token was to prove their identity, and the other function was to record military merits. Normally, the command medallion didn't have this effect, but in times of war, when the commander or general activated the command medallion in their hands, the medallion would absorb the life force of the killed opponent to form merit battle runes. Merit battle runes were equivalent to merit points. The 4 commanders of the Thunderbolt Battalion set out with their subordinates. Night Sorrow and Meng Dan led the soldiers of the Massacre Gods Battalion at the very center. After advancing for 200 miles, they encountered the Dark Abyss warriors. The Dark Abyss warriors' figures were similar to humans, but their faces had dark runes. They were wearing and holding the same battle sabers and armor. Battalion. Night Sorrow knew that this was the Dark Abyss Battalion's uniform armor and weapons. This was the battalion's equipment. "Kill, all those standing in front of us are military merits and resources," Meng Dan shouted at the soldiers of the Massacre Gods Battalion and began to charge forward. Night Sorrow activated his protective barrier and slashed forward. "Your Highness, slow down," Wu Jia shouted. He was worried that Night Sorrow would be in danger. "It's nothing. Everyone, pay attention to your safety." Night Sorrow directly charged towards the Dark Abyss Battalion. He had promised that he would always appear before every battle. Night Sorrow's speed was extremely fast, almost the same as Meng Dan. The 1st Battalion led by Wu Jia followed behind Night Sorrow. When he got close to the Dark Abyss Battalion, Night Sorrow began to attack with Space Splitter. Most of the Dark Abyss Battalion were Saint Kings. Only a small portion of them were King ranks. Night Sorrow didn't need any battle skills to enter the Dark Abyss Battalion. Space Splitter was used to reap lives and accumulate military merits. Night Sorrow's back was littered with corpses. He could feel the token hanging from his waist, constantly absorbing the vitality of the Dark Abyss Battalion he killed. "Brothers, pay attention to your safety. If you encounter a king, surround him and kill him. That's all military merits," Wu Jia shouted. Hearing Wu Jia's shout, Night Sorrow's target changed. He targeted the Dark Abyss Battalion's king ranks and killed them. The military merits gained from killing Saint King rank Dark Abyss Battalion and King rank Dark Abyss Battalion captains and commanders were completely different. Night Sorrow wasn't fighting for military merits, but to reduce the danger to others. The Massacring Gods Battalion soldiers who noticed Night Sorrow's battle were all shocked. Night Sorrow was fighting for his life. He didn't look like a noble highness at all. At this moment, he looked more like a charging soldier. If it wasn't a king-rank Dark Abyss Battalion, Night Sorrow could casually wave Space Splitter and rely on his physical strength to kill them. If he encountered a king-rank Dark Abyss Battalion commander, he would use his energy and battle skills to kill them. Night Sorrow remembered Qin Lei Tang's words. There were many Dark Abyss Battalion soldiers, so they had to avoid exhausting themselves. As the slaughter continued, Night Sorrow slowly moved deeper into the Dark Abyss Battalion. The Thunder Battalion soldiers weren't as fast as him, so they couldn't kill as fast as him. Gradually, the distance between them widened. Night Sorrow didn't care about this. If it wasn't for a high-level king-rank Dark Abyss Battalion appearing out of nowhere, there was no way he could be killed instantly. Night Sorrow needed military merits. Not only did he need them, but the 9 regions' world's cultivators were low-level and their cultivation techniques were poor. With military merits, he could exchange them for what he needed. As for Princess Qing Yuan, Night Sorrow didn't count on her anymore. Their relationship had changed, and it was different from before. Now, Princess Qing Yuan was rejecting him. First update. The announcement was made yesterday. Counting from yesterday, the reward is now 200. If someone says it's expensive, then I'll add more. If there are people who say it's expensive, then I'll add more. If there aren't, then it's not bad either. We won't force you, so I'm not tired of adding 4. Also, if there are people who say I'll add less than 4, please don't say such things again. It's not good for anyone if we get into an argument. Let's have fun. I've never forced anyone, and it's fine if you read white books. We're all book fans, but don't make unreasonable requests. Chapter 1129. Before Night Sorrow became the disciple of the Qing Emperor, Princess Qing Yuan was very polite and courteous. But now, because Night Sorrow was also the prince of the Qing Emperor's imperial dynasty, she had misgivings in her heart. It could also be said that she was suspicious of him. Speaking of other things, she didn't give Hong Yi and Lanning the cloning technique. She had said that she would give it to him. Since it didn't work with Princess Qing Yuan, Night Sorrow had other plans and had to rely on himself. Heads and flesh flew everywhere. Wherever Night Sorrow went, it was like harvesting wheat. Kill. There was no mercy in a battle between legions. Being merciful to the enemy was being cruel to one's own people and to the Thunder Legion's soldiers. Most of the soldiers of the Massacring Gods territory followed behind Yishang. One reason was that they were worried about Yishang's safety. Another reason was that it was easier to kill those behind Yishang. The Dark Legion had been scattered by Yishang. Wu Jia rushed to Night Sorrow's side and supported Night Sorrow. Currently, other than Meng Dan who was supervising the battle, only Wu Jia could keep up with Night Sorrow's rhythm. The others had already distanced themselves. Your Highness, ferocious. While fighting, Wu Jia yelled out loudly. Haha. Let's fight to our heart's content. Night Sorrow used a space-twisting dragon kill and a time shock wave to kill a King Darkness Legion's captain and laughed. Well said, let's fight to our heart's content. Wu Jia's battle intent was also high. A group of people kept pushing forward. The Darkness Legion also quickly gathered and constantly clashed with each other. After the collision, the Dark Warriors would be killed and eliminated. The Massacre God's leader was the elite of the Green One army. Their battle strength was extremely powerful. Moreover, the coordination of the battle formation was of a higher level than before. Their battle strength and lethality had a huge increase. After pushing forward for 1,000 miles, Massacre God's territory fought for 8 hours before they reached the target line. When they reached the target line, Meng Dan ordered them to set up defenses. The Legion's battle was a coordinated battle. One team couldn't go too deep. Night Sorrow made himself a tent and boiled water to make tea. Wu Jia and some other captains, as well as Xiu, who was more familiar with Night Sorrow, all ran over to Night Sorrow's place to drink tea and chat. Ah, Xiu, you lazy bum. Go get a wild beast and roast it. Wu Jia nodded at Ah Xiu. Xiu smiled and went to work. Everyone was more casual. After Ah Xiu got the wild beasts, Wu Jia took out some wine. Everyone casually drank some wine and then went to cultivate and rest, because there was still a big battle tomorrow. However, Meng Dan came to Knight Sorrow's place. Your Highness, you don't have to fight so hard. Just do what you can, Meng Dan said. Back then, I made a promise. As long as we fight, I want to be in front of my brothers. If we retreat, I want to be at the back. If we don't keep our word, we can't stand. As long as we are in the massacring gods' territory, I will do this. Knight Sorrow poured a bowl of wine for Meng Dan and said, "This is the good fortune of the brothers of the massacring gods' territory. Meng Dan will thank your Highness on behalf of our brothers." Meng Dan cupped his hands towards Knight Sorrow. "Commander Meng, you don't have to do this. I am a soldier of the massacring gods' territory. I will fulfill the responsibilities and obligations of a soldier." Knight Sorrow cupped his hands in return. "I don't know what to say when you guys are so polite." Qin Leitang arrived at Knight Sorrow's tent. "Greetings, General." Meng Dan bowed. Knight Sorrow also cupped his hands towards Qin Leitang. "Your Highness, how many enemies did you kill? Why are the military inscriptions on the token so densely packed?" Qin Leitang looked at Knight Sorrow's token and asked. "Your Highness charged at the front today and killed the most enemies. You even killed many king-level Dark Warrior captains," Meng Dan said. "Your Highness, I believe that such life and death battles are beneficial for your growth. However, you still have to pay attention to your safety." Qin Leitang looked at Knight Sorrow and said, "Thank you for your advice, General. Knight Sorrow will remember it." Knight Sorrow nodded. Looking at Knight Sorrow, Qin Leitang pondered for a moment. "There are some things that you don't have to worry about. Perhaps some people have doubts and scruples about your Highness, but I won't. As long as your Highness is in the Thunderbolt army, I won't let anything happen. If I can't do anything, I will let your Highness leave or retire in advance." Knight Sorrow looked at Qin Leitang. He didn't expect Qin Leitang to say something like this. This was equivalent to standing in his shoes and thinking about the problem. "You don't have to look at me like that. I am a member of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Naturally, I can't watch your Highness get hurt. Most importantly, I am a soldier, so I respect true soldiers. Your Highness is such a person." Qin Leitang explained the reason behind his words. Knight Sorrow smiled helplessly. "Actually, I am not a complicated person. I became Master's disciple to improve my own strength. I have never thought of becoming your Highness. I came to the Green Phoenix Army to be a soldier and fulfill a promise. At the same time, I will accumulate some military merits and earn some resources. On the last section of the new chapter." "I understand. I really understand. Don't worry. I will go take a look at the other 3 territories. Meng Dan, make arrangements for the soldiers in the Massacre God territory. Tomorrow's mission will be sent over tomorrow morning." After giving a few more instructions, Qin Leitang left. He wanted to check on the situation in the other territories and then give out orders for tomorrow's battle. Knight Sorrow and Meng Dan filled the wine cup again. "Your Highness, let's not talk about anything else. Drink this bowl of wine and rest." After drinking the wine, Meng Dan also left Knight Sorrow's tent. Qin Leitang and Meng Dan were hot-blooded soldiers, but it didn't mean that they didn't know some twists and turns. They knew that Knight Sorrow was being doubted. Princess Qingwan asked Knight Sorrow if he was going to participate in the battle. They felt that there was another meaning behind that question. Knight Sorrow drank a pot of tea and took out a chair. He covered himself with a blanket and laid on it to rest. The main body's cultivation was enough for Yishang. Now, taking a break was relaxing. After dawn, Meng Dan and Wu Jia went to Knight Sorrow's tent. Looking at Knight Sorrow, who was still sleeping, the two were stunned. How many people who cultivated to the king level slept? Moreover, there was going to be a big battle soon. At this moment, Knight Sorrow stretched and sat up. "Comfortable. Other than your Highness, no one can do this." Wu Jia curled his lips and said, "Hee hee. I'm just resting for a while." Knight Sorrow said with a smile. While they were talking, the messenger came with Qin Leitang's battle order. Today's mission was to not change the direction and advance 600 li yesterday. Advancing 1,000 li was nothing to massacre God's territory, but there was pressure on the other 3 territories. Therefore, Qin Leitang made some adjustments. After tidying up, the group set off and continued the battle. Knight Sorrow was still the same as before. He was at the front. Because Meng Dan had to coordinate with the overall situation, she let Wu Jia follow Knight Sorrow and be the sharp blade of the group. They were going to eliminate the tough bones among the Dark Warriors. Knight Sorrow's command token was getting denser and denser. This was very rare for others. The soldiers of Massacre God's territory also admired Knight Sorrow. In Massacre God's territory, there were quite a number of 2-star king. The captains were all mid-level king. However, none of them were as powerful as Knight Sorrow. The second update has arrived. The announcement was made yesterday. Counting from yesterday, the reward will be 200. If someone says it's expensive, then it's fine. If there are people who say it's expensive, I'll add. If there aren't, then it's also not bad. We won't force you. I'm not tired of 4 updates. Also, if there are people who say I'll guarantee 4 updates, please don't say this again. It's not good for anyone. Let's have fun. I didn't force anyone. It doesn't matter if you read white books. We are all book fans. However, don't make any unreasonable requests. Chapter 1130. Sometimes, Knight Sorrow's sky-piercing spear would fly out to save the soldiers of Massacre God's territory if they were in danger. After fighting for a few days, Knight Sorrow's prestige in Massacre God's territory grew higher and higher. Knight Sorrow was a newbie in Massacre God's territory. They had never fought together before, so everyone felt a sense of unfamiliarity with him. In addition, Knight Sorrow was the 3rd prince of the Qing Emperor's imperial court. His status was revered, and the soldiers of Massacre God's territory felt a sense of distance from him. However, as they fought and Knight Sorrow fought every battle, the sense of unfamiliarity and distance slowly disappeared. They all became familiar with him. Whoever had barbecued meat or good wine would give Knight Sorrow a portion. The iron-blooded soldiers wouldn't flatter anyone, and they didn't need it. If there was respect and affection, then everyone would chat and laugh together. If they didn't want to bother with you, they could just ignore you. Wu Jia and the other captains would look for Knight Sorrow to have a meal after the battle. Every time Ah Chiu came, he would carry a wild beast to do it well. Otherwise, Wu Jia would scold him. Ah Chiu was brought out by Wu Jia. Although they weren't master and disciple, they were considered an elder brother. Meng Dan also often hung out with Knight Sorrow. He was the commander, and Knight Sorrow was the vice-commander. Knight Sorrow was the sharp knife at the front, and he was in the middle to command the entire situation. The 2 of them cooperated well. Qin Leitang would come once a day to ask about the situation and then formulate a tactical mission. He was very happy that Knight Sorrow got along well with everyone. He thought highly of Knight Sorrow, so he was very concerned about Knight Sorrow's situation in Massacre God's territory. Knight Sorrow's token changed color. It was originally white, but now it was blue. After a transition in the middle, it was green. The token would only change color when it reached 1,000 military points. This also meant that Knight Sorrow was about to reach 3,000 military points. Killing a Saint King Peak Dark Warrior was 1 military point, and killing a King-level Dark Warrior would give more. After every battle, a quartermaster would clear out all the merit tokens and report them to the Qing Emperor's palace. In fact, the officials in charge of the meritorious deeds were the officials of the Qing Emperor's palace. They had no right to operate within the army. In other words, the meritorious deeds of the Qing Emperor's dynasty could not be faked, and no one could do so. Everyone's merit was recorded in the Qing Emperor's palace. Anyone who wanted to exchange for resources could go to the merit hall of the Qing Emperor's palace. Merit points were hard to come by, and it required a high quota to exchange for top-level resources. For example, the minimum exchange time for cultivation in the Samsara Palace was 10 years, and 10 years of cultivation required 100,000 merit points. Knight Sorrow's 3,000 contribution points were less than half a year's worth. Thinking about it, Knight Sorrow understood. The Ninth Heaven Pagoda only opened once every 3,000 years. It would be very difficult to obtain a slot. The Samsara Palace in the Supreme World was more advanced, and cultivation time was more precious. It was normal to spend 100,000 merit points for 10 years. As for why Princess Qingyuan had so much time to cultivate, it was because she was the commander of the Qingyuan army. If the Qingyuan army won a battle, the soldiers would have battle merits. As the commander, she would also have battle merits. Moreover, her battle merits were the highest because the Qingyuan army was hers. Knight Sorrow didn't know if Princess Qingyuan would mention the cultivation time in the Samsara Palace again, but he didn't care. He had become the prince and already had cultivation time. He would continue to accumulate merit points to exchange for resources and cultivation methods. The Dark Abyss was a special country with more dark warriors. Therefore, the Dark Dominator didn't care about the consumption. As long as he attacked the surrounding forces, he could plunder resources. Survival of the fittest was the law of survival in the Dark Abyss. Wars eliminated some members with low cultivation and could get resources. This was the reason why the Dark Abyss started wars. The Qing Emperor's dynasty wanted to destroy the invaders. They would kill as many as they came. This situation had been going on for many years. The Qingyuan army was responsible for half of the defense line in the Dark Abyss, while the Green Scale army was responsible for the other half. The other borders of the Qing Emperor's dynasty were also divided. Wherever there was a problem, the army would go out to fight. If the Green Scale army and the Qingyuan army couldn't solve the problem, then there was the Qing Emperor's city guards. If the Qing Emperor's city guards couldn't solve the problem, then it was time for the Qing Emperor's guards to move out. However, in the long history, the Qing Emperor's guards had only been mobilized a few times. Knight Sorrow planned to let his clone mingle in the Qingyuan army while his original body cultivated. In order to complete the trade with Princess Qingyuan, Knight Sorrow's minimum service period was 1,000 years. 1,000 years might be a long time, but it was nothing in the eyes of high-level cultivators. Knight Sorrow had his original body cultivating, so the influence of his clone's service was only so-so. After 1,000 years of service, Knight Sorrow felt that he could also accumulate a lot of merit points. It was going smoothly. The war was going smoothly. After half a month, only a few soldiers from the Massacring Gods territory died. Of course, danger appeared a few times when the Dark Abyss army's commander appeared. Knight Sorrow couldn't win, and Meng Dan could only hold them off. Qin Leitang, who received the message, could only take them down. The results were the same several times. After killing another Dark Abyss army commander, Qin Leitang left. Luckily, the general came in time every time. Otherwise, we would have suffered heavy losses. Knight Sorrow said emotionally. The general isn't in any of the armies. Usually, the command tent is in the center of the 4 armies. If any army is in danger, the general will appear. Meng Dan said. Knight Sorrow nodded. He understood that the battle order was given with a plan. Distance, consumption, and rescue were all part of Qin Leitang's plan. The battle continued. In the middle, Princess Qingyuan came once and said something to Knight Sorrow. However, Knight Sorrow felt that something was wrong. The feeling was completely different from before. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow understood that her heart had changed. Princess Qingyuan couldn't treat him as well as before. He was a threat to the other 2 princes of the Qing Emperor dynasty. Whether Knight Sorrow fought or not, this threat was still there. Such a situation was helpless. However, Knight Sorrow wasn't afraid. He was willing to keep a low profile. If Qing Lin and Qing Yuan used any methods, he could return to the 9 grand floors and form his own army. He had a promise to serve the Qing Emperor dynasty. Forming an army was also to serve the Qing Emperor dynasty. However, unless it was a last resort, Knight Sorrow wouldn't do that. He didn't want to hurt the relationship between master and disciple. Qing Lin and Qing Yuan were the children of the Qing Emperor. If he formed an army, it would mean that he wanted to compete with them. Knight Sorrow felt that it wasn't appropriate to compete with his master's children. Meng Dan's arrival made Knight Sorrow's thoughts stop. Z equals latest chapter previous, Your Highness, what are you thinking about? Meng Dan sat down and asked. Your Highness has come. Commander Meng knows. I feel like everything has changed. I feel helpless. Knight Sorrow sighed. Meng Dan didn't say anything. She knew about this. When Knight Sorrow challenged, Qing Yuan's attitude and arrangements were different from now. After returning to the border city, Princess Qing Yuan went to the inn arranged by the city lord. Your Highness, should you change the way you interact with Knight Sorrow? Zhuo Tingyun thought for a while and asked. Chapter 1131. Change the way I get along with Knight Sorrow? Princess Qing Yuan looked at Zhuo Tingyun. Yes, Knight Sorrow is a smart person. He can feel the princess's attitude. If he doesn't want to get along with you sincerely, then it would be a waste of the foundation he had built in the past, Zhuo Tingyun said. Princess Qing Yuan didn't say anything. Ever since she knew that Knight Sorrow was valued by the Qing Emperor and became a prince, her heart was not calm. He is very stable now. He doesn't have any other thoughts. If he feels enmity and doesn't feel a sense of belonging, he might walk to the opposite side of the princess, Zhuo Tingyun said. Your Majesty is angry. He is just a native of a small world. Now, he is actually on the same level as the Crown Prince and Your Majesty. What right does he have? Princess Qing Yuan stood up agitatedly. Forgive me for saying this, but where did the Crown Prince and Princess get their prince's positions? It was given by His Majesty. His Majesty can give it to whoever he wants. No one can question it. The Qing Emperor's matters cannot be hidden from His Majesty. If the Princess and Knight Sorrow have a conflict, I am afraid that it will lower the Princess's position in His Majesty's heart, Zhuo Tingyun said. Zhuo Tingyun had followed the Qing Emperor before, so he understood the Qing Emperor very well. He was ordered to assist Princess Qing Yuan, so there were some things that he didn't want to see. Princess Qing Yuan looked at Zhuo Tingyun and thought. Zhuo Tingyun's words were a little harsh, but they were all reasonable. Her and the Crown Prince's positions were given by the Qing Emperor. The Qing Emperor could give it or take it back. The Qing Emperor supported Knight Sorrow to become a prince. If she did anything, it would be a slap to the Qing Emperor's face. Even if the Qing Emperor didn't say it, he would have some thoughts in his heart. At the very least, he would be disgusted. The only official version, the others were the official version. Elder Zhuo, Your Majesty, and the Crown Prince are father's princes and princesses, but what about him? Princess Qing Yuan's words were filled with emotions. His Majesty pursues two things. The first is his own strength. The second is the long-term stability of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. As long as the Qing Emperor's dynasty doesn't decline, his bloodline can continue. He doesn't care who has a higher position and power, as long as you can live well. It is. It. You value Yi Shang because you think he can bring stability to the Qing Emperor's empire? Princess Qing Yuan asked. She wasn't just asking Zhuo Tingyun, she was also asking herself, he. Zhuo Tingyun understood the situation very clearly. Putting Knight Sorrow's value to the Qing Emperor's dynasty aside, the Qing Emperor liked and appreciated Knight Sorrow. There was no doubt about this. If Green Qilin and Princess Qing Yuan made any moves, the Qing Emperor would first think that they didn't have enough courage and breadth of mind. He would think that they wouldn't be able to achieve great things. Your Highness, being on good terms with Knight Sorrow will make Your Highness' position in the Qing Emperor's dynasty more stable. Seeing that Princess Qing Yuan's emotions were gradually stabilizing, Zhuo Tingyun once again spoke his opinion. Thank you for your advice, Elder Zhuo. I will remember it. I must let go of my emotions. Even if I can't, I must keep it in my heart. Princess Qing Yuan had thought it through. Knight Sorrow fought every day. Every time he fought, he would rush to the front. His merits also increased. His friendship with the soldiers of the Massacre God's leader also deepened. Seeing the brothers of the Massacre God's leader fighting, Night Sorrow felt that it was time to bring his brothers to the world of reincarnation. Most of the members of the God-slaying team were paragons. Some were saints. Their development was still limited in the 9 regions world. People like Liang Yu, Yun Huang, and Ling Long all had high aptitudes. As for guidance, there were 2 great experts in the 9 Grand Pagoda. Fei Xiao and Shen Han were both outstanding king. Shen Han was slightly weaker, but Fei Xiao was a monarch. The Qing Emperor's Guard was the most elite team in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. It was normal for the captain to be a monarch. One must know that the Green Qilan Palace and Princess Qing Yuan Palace didn't have the Qing Emperor's Guard stationed there. Night Sorrow decided that after this battle, he would bring the members of the God-slaying team, his family, and the people around him to the 9 Grand Pagoda. There was no other way. Everyone's short cultivation time was a disadvantage. They all needed the Time Pagoda to speed up. Therefore, they could only gather together and use the Time Pagoda together. If it was in the past, Night Sorrow wouldn't dare to do this because he was surrounded by danger in the world of reincarnation. However, it was different now. The 9 Grand Pagoda was absolutely safe. In the Qing Emperor's dynasty, other than the Qing Emperor's order, no one dared to enter the 9 Grand Pagoda. The Qing Emperor wouldn't threaten Night Sorrow's safety. After fighting for a month, the Thunder Army fought to the border between the Qing Emperor's dynasty and the Dark Abyss. They even went deeper before stopping. After a war of attrition, the Massacre God's leader was also exhausted. More than 10 people died. This was something that couldn't be helped. There were always deaths on the battlefield. After a month of fighting, Night Sorrow had accumulated tens of thousands of military merits. Ordinary soldiers couldn't compare to him. Even Meng Dan and Wu Jia's military merits were inferior to Night Sorrow's. We'll rest for a day today. We'll return tomorrow. As for the responsibility of cleaning up the remaining people, Your Highness has gained quite a lot of military merits. When you return, you must treat us to a drink, Wu Jia said. Of course. There's no problem. It's a pity that some of our brothers have left, Night Sorrow said to the soldiers of the Massacre God's leader. Your Highness, don't think too much. We have an agreement. Dying in battle is an honor. There's no need for anyone to feel sad. Moreover, Your Highness has kept your promise. Every time you charge, you'll be at the front. When you retreat, you'll be at the back, Wu Jia said. Who doesn't have parents, wife, and children? No one is afraid of death when they serve in the army. However, if they die in battle, their family will be damaged. There will be less laughter. Night Sorrow lamented. We still have to urge them to work hard in their cultivation. The more power they have, the more hope they have of surviving. Meng Dan was also affected by Night Sorrow's emotions. After the 4 leaders of the Thunder Army retreated, Night Sorrow realized that the Massacre God's leader had the least casualties. The other leaders had 30 to 40 casualties. Wu Jia then told Night Sorrow that in the past battles, the Massacre God's leader was stronger than the other 3 leaders. However, it wasn't so obvious. Now, it was the joint attack formation that had taken effect. The Thunder Army returned to the Green Phoenix Army's encampment. After returning to his own resting loft, Night Sorrow saw Summer City drinking tea. He didn't know that Summer City had been in the battlefield all this time to protect his safety. He had just returned yesterday. Young Master, Her Highness Green Phoenix sent us a clone technique, Hong Yi said. Night Sorrow was stunned. He felt that this shouldn't be the case. Previously, Green Phoenix Army's apprehension and suspicion were very obvious. At different times, their thoughts are different. Perhaps they have thought it through, because it's useless if they don't, Summer City said. Night Sorrow nodded. He could understand the logic behind it. Then, Night Sorrow asked Summer City if he could bring his hometown people to live in the 9 grand floors. Of course you can. His Majesty has bestowed this place to you, so it's your territory. If the cultivators of this small world want to rise, vision is very important. Watching the Qing Emperor's Guard and the city guards cultivate will allow them to gain insights. Also, it's not a problem for Fei Xiao and the others to give pointers. Here, your words are orders. Summer City said. The fourth update had arrived. It was estimated that there would be 3 more updates today, which was 7. The remaining 2 updates would be transferred to tomorrow. Chapter 1132. That's not so bad. I came to the world of samsara to get some opportunities for my hometown to rise. Of course, the current good situation is all because of my master, not the result of my hard work. Yishang said. Your Highness, it's good to have such a mentality, but don't belittle yourself. If you're not good enough and have no value, you won't have this opportunity. This is also a kind of ability. Confidence, you must be confident. If you have it, you must have your reasons. Summer City looked at Night Sorrow and said. He appreciated Night Sorrow's mentality, but he felt that he couldn't lose his edge and confidence. Uncle Summer, don't worry. I'm very confident. As long as I work hard, I can fight for my life, Night Sorrow said. Very good. In fact, I won't hide it from you. I came to your Highness from His Majesty's side. When Qinglin Crown Prince became the Crown Prince, he was assisted by Shengguanhong. When Qinghuan Crown Prince became independent, Zhua Tingyin followed him. What I want to do is to watch your Highness rise. Your achievements in the Qing Emperor's dynasty also represent the success of my assistants, Summer City said. Uncle Summer, I'm sorry. Night Sorrow knew that Summer City was his protector in the Qing Emperor's dynasty and even in the world of samsara. Your Highness, don't say that. His Majesty thinks highly of your Highness, so do I. There's nothing to be sorry about. Summer City shook his head. Uncle Summer, if there's anything you need me to do, just tell me. I'm both a weapon refiner and an alchemist. Night Sorrow said. He knew that Summer City's fate was closely related to his. If Summer City was strong enough to suppress the protectors of Qinglin and Qinghuan, then everything would be much smoother. Weapons and armors can indeed increase one's battle prowess, but they are all external items. The key is still to increase one's own strength. At my level, it is already very difficult to increase one's own strength. It can be said that it is difficult to take even a single step forward. I can only rely on my comprehension to research absolute arts, Xiaqing said. Uncle Summer, I still have spirit perception pills and yin spirit pills. Do you need them? Night Sorrow asked. To improve my comprehension and spirituality, I do need them. Summer City looked at Night Sorrow and said. Yishang took out the profound spirit pill and spirit comprehension pill and gave them to Xiaqing. The profound spirit pill was an elixir vein profound spirit pill. He still had a few elixir vein profound spirit pills, but he couldn't use them carelessly because he had to prepare them for his future child. But your Highness, you can rest assured that Qinglin Crown Prince and Princess Qinghuan Princess of. If it was someone else's elixir, Xia City might not accept it. That was a favor. Big favors were karma, and it was very difficult to repay them in the future. However, Night Sorrow was different. In the future, he would work for Night Sorrow and work for Night Sorrow. I don't want to compete with them, and I don't want to fight with them. Master taught me how to cultivate. If I fight with them, Master will be sad and disappointed. But if anyone threatens my life, then I won't sit still and wait for death. Night Sorrow expressed his opinion, which was also his principle. You're right. Actually, your Highness has some foundation now. The Qing Emperor's guards in the 9 grand floors only listen to your Highness and your orders. In a few days, I'll hand over my position as the commander of the Qing Emperor's guards. However, the troops I've transferred now belong to your Highness. They're the strongest troops. Summer City said some things that Night Sorrow didn't know. Thank you, Uncle Summer. You've arranged some things for me. Night Sorrow stood up and bowed to Summer City. It's nothing. Right now, Your Highness just needs to do what you need to do. If the Green Phoenix Army is at war, then Your Highness will participate. If you have nothing to do, then come back and cultivate. If there are people you can't let go of, or people you need to train, then bring them to the 9 grand floors. Although Your Highness doesn't want to form an army, it's necessary to develop your subordinate strength. Also, Your Highness can recruit a personal army of 500 people. As for the resources for the soldiers, that's all arranged by the Qing Emperor's palace. It won't put any pressure on Your Highness. Summer City explained some things to Night Sorrow. Okay, I'll have to trouble Uncle Summer with this. I don't really understand these things right now. Night Sorrow said. Okay, then I'll arrange some people to do it. Summer City nodded. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and said, in addition, leave 100 people for the personal army. When the people around me come over, they'll train and cultivate with everyone. If they can have the treatment of the personal army, it'll be helpful for their development. Summer City nodded. He understood why Night Sorrow made such arrangements. Although the personal army's strength might be weaker, it would give the people around him a chance. Then Summer City reminded Night Sorrow that the key was still the original body. When the original body could go to the Samsara Palace to cultivate and improve himself was very important. During the cultivation period, the cultivators who entered the Samsara Palace and came out would have a great improvement in their achievements. Night Sorrow thought, making a choice and analyzing. He was analyzing if his original body went to cultivate, would the Dark Spirit world erupt within 100 years? Would the Dark Spirit King move? After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow felt that he had to wait. The cultivation time in the Samsara Palace was very important, and he couldn't waste it. After entering, he had to cultivate calmly. Looking at Night Sorrow thinking, Summer City didn't disturb him. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow told Summer City that he would go back to the 9 regions world and bring his family and the god-slaying team over. Originally, Night Sorrow didn't want to bring anyone, but Summer City arranged for Fei Xiu to bring the capable Qing Emperor's guards and follow Night Sorrow. 2 monarchs followed. Even Princess Qing didn't have such treatment. When the Qing Emperor arranged for Princess Qing, only Zhuo Tingyun was a master. There was no Qing Emperor's guards. Now that Night Sorrow had such treatment, the captain of the Qing Emperor's guards was naturally a master. Night Sorrow first went to the Tianding Gate and greeted his master Yu Yangyu. Then he chatted with Elder Xiang for a while. Yu Yangyu and the others didn't plan to move. They were now managing Danding Peak at the Tianding Gate. Night Sorrow supported Yu Yangyu and the others' decision. Everyone's choice and path were completely different. Then he met Beixing and King of the Big Dipper and learned that the Yanmen sect had publicly apologized and given Chia's city material compensation. Night Sorrow felt that this result was good. He didn't have to fight to the death with the Yanmen sect. When King of the Greedy Wolf wanted to drink with Night Sorrow, Summer City took a step forward. The energy in his body vibrated and directly shook Greedy Wolf King back. Be polite to our prince. Uncle Summer, it's okay. He's my friend. Night Sorrow shook his head at Summer City and then smiled apologetically at Greedy Wolf King. Prince? What prince? Beixing asked curiously. It's like this. I have another master. He's the Qing Emperor of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Night Sorrow said. If no one asked, Night Sorrow wouldn't say it. That would be showing off. At this time, King Xian Tian also arrived. When he saw Summer City and Fei Xiu, he cupped his hands. As a monarch, he naturally knew how strong Summer City and Fei Xiu were. Chapter 1133. Night Sorrow introduced both parties to one another. His Highness went to the world of reincarnation to fight, in essence, for the continent of the 9 clouds. In the future, there won't be any supreme forces in the continent of the 9 clouds. But His Highness's forces in the continent of the 9 clouds, please take care of them, Monarch Xian Tian. If anyone wants to touch them, send a message to the 9 Layers Tower of the Qing Emperor dynasty. I will bring people to clean them up, said Xia Cheng. Strong and domineering. This was Summer City. He was polite to Night Sorrow, but his attitude was different from others. Please rest assured, Monarch of Summer City. We will take care of these things. Monarch Xian Tian nodded. This time, he came in person. When Night Sorrow and the others arrived at the teleportation array, Monarch Xian Tian's clone knew. The two monarchs followed Night Sorrow here. It was inappropriate for his clone to come. It was disrespectful. Senior Xian Tian, my sect in the 9 Domains world was the Medicine Valley, and the Medicine Valley was a branch of the Tianding Gate. Please take care of it, Monarch Xian Tian. Don't fall into any traps, Night Sorrow said. Monarch Xian Tian nodded. He didn't need Night Sorrow to say this. He had to do it well because the 9 Firmament World Group owed Night Sorrow. Some time ago, after Night Sorrow left, Monarch Xian Tian found Yenmen's sect and gave them 2 choices. They could apologize and compensate, or they could be destroyed. Faced with Monarch Xian Tian's strong suppression, Yenmen's sect could only choose to apologize and compensate. After talking for a while, Night Sorrow arrived at 7 Night City. He took Summer City and Fei Xiu for a walk. When Night Sorrow arrived at 7 Night City, the higher-ups of the 9 Domains world had received the news and came over. Night Sorrow looked at Tai Shu Yen and Long Xiansheng and asked about the situation. Tai Shu Yen bowed and reported some recent progress. Originally, what the 9 regions world lacked was resources. Even though Night Sorrow had prepared a lot of Saint Spirit stones, it was still not enough. Fortunately, the Yenmen's sect had sent over a batch of resources. Now, the 9 regions world, 7 Night City and Clear Sky City were working together on 2 fronts. Night Sorrow didn't hide it from anyone. He told them about the current situation in the world of reincarnation. He could give some people a chance. Everyone was thinking about it. No one said that they wanted to go to the reincarnation great world because the 9 regions world lacked people and resources. If the management went to the reincarnation great world, then the Commander-in-Chief's residence, 7 Night City, and Supreme Sky City would be paralyzed. How about this, you guys continue to focus on the construction of 7 Night City. I will work hard to earn resources and cultivation methods. Just wait for me, Night Sorrow said. Your Highness, if we can get a King-class teleportation crystal, 7 Night City can open up a teleportation array with our 9 Chong building. That way, it will be more convenient for us to come and go in the future. Summer City said. I still have a King-grade teleportation stone. It can sever a main body and some clones. Night Sorrow's eyes lit up. This was a good idea. If the 9 Chong building and 7 Night City could teleport to each other, it would be much more convenient in the future. Night Sorrow cut the King-class teleportation crystal that no beginning sovereign took out. Then, he embedded the clones into the teleportation array in 7 Night City. He teleported back to the 9 Chong building and set up a teleportation array. The teleportation array in the 9 Chong building didn't need anyone to guard it. The loyalty of the Qing Emperor's guards and the city guards was not a problem. They were the most important teams in Summer City. They were all his trusted subordinates. After setting up the teleportation array, Night Sorrow returned to 7 Night City and went to the city in the sky. Night Sorrow didn't force some people to go to the reincarnation great world. However, he had to bring some people with him. The god-slaying team. He had to bring his wife, parents, and 2 disciples. He also had to bring Xuexi, Zhu Jiuyun, and Wu Lingfei. There were also 2 other people, Jun Xuanji and Ren Tianji. Forever, forever. Jun Xuanji and Ren Tianji used to be the 2 most outstanding talents in the Xuanji realm. After the war, their cultivation had increased exponentially. It was very difficult for Ren Tianji to enter the Saint realm. However, he had perseverance and managed to break through. Then, his cultivation improved by leaps and bounds. Just like Jun Xuanji, he was now a high-level saint. Therefore, he decided to go out and take a look. Night Sorrow supported him. He also needed some people around him to take care of some things. Ren Tianji didn't say anything. Jun Xuanji was very capable. He could definitely take care of some things in the Nine Chong building. As for He Qiu, it wasn't that Night Sorrow didn't trust her. It was just that he wasn't very familiar with her. After retrieving the pagoda of time and space, Night Sorrow gathered the members of the god-slaying team. In addition, he called his parents, sister, and disciples to the mansion. Then, he told them his plan. Everyone supported Night Sorrow's decision. Yi Wuyo looked at his son and said, Night Sorrow, Saint King Qianhua, great ancestor, and your grandfather's cultivation aptitude is excellent. Can you take them with you? Night Sorrow nodded. In fact, even if Yi Wuyo didn't say anything, Night Sorrow would ask. Yi Qianhua was previously unable to enter the king's realm because of some restrictions. Now, the situation inside and outside the Nine Regions world had improved. If he worked hard, he would have a chance to enter the king's realm. Night Sorrow also asked Aoi and Yang Lei to go to the Medicine Valley. He asked his senior brothers if anyone was willing to go to the world of Samsara. Night Sorrow had always remembered his senior brother's care when he was young. If there was a chance, he would definitely not be stingy to help Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow rested for 2 days. Yang Lei and Aoi came back, followed by Mo Chen and Chu Lingfei. Seeing Mo Chen, Night Sorrow was very happy. He went forward and gave Mo Chen a hug. Among the 12 senior brothers, Night Sorrow and Mo Chen were the closest. It was Mo Chen who took him out to train and cared for him a lot. 13, I miss you. We haven't seen each other for a while. Mo Chen knocked on Night Sorrow's shoulder and said. I miss you too, but there are too many things to do. This time, we'll have more chances to see each other when we go to the Nine Chong Pagoda, Night Sorrow said. Then Night Sorrow told them about the current situation. He also said that Yu Yangyu and the others were not willing to go. They planned to develop Danding Peak at the Tianding Gate. Everyone has different goals. Maybe this is what Master and the others want. We can't force them. Mo Chen said. I know. If there's nothing else, let's go. Night Sorrow nodded. Now that the Nine Regions world was stable, they were competing with the outside world. Increasing their strength was especially important. A group of people using the teleportation array would cost a lot. If they used someone else's teleportation array, they would have to pay more spirit stones. Night Sorrow was the realm lord of the Nine Regions world and the city lord of Seven Night City. Therefore, he only had to pay the cost of using the teleportation array. Night Sorrow also said that before it was open to the public, the teleportation array would only be charged the cost. After reaching the Nine Chong Pagoda, Night Sorrow called Fei Xiu and He Qiu to the training ground. Then, he set up the time pagoda at the side. The members of the god-slaying team were also gathered here. Yi Shan had gathered everyone here because he had something to say to them. First, Yi Shang introduced everyone so that they could get to know each other. I want to say a few words. After entering the Nine Chong Pagoda, everyone will be one family. We will share honor and disgrace together. Night Sorrow said. 6th update. Chapter 1134. Night Sorrow looked at Shenhan and said, This time, I've brought my brothers and family who have gone through thick and thin with me. They will be living and cultivating here in the future. I hope that Captain Shenhan can give them some pointers. Their talents are not bad, but they have only cultivated for a short time. What they lack is guidance and experience. Your subordinate understands. Shenhan nodded. His eyes were fixed on the members of the god-slaying squad. He could see that the members of the god-slaying squad were very young and had great potential. Chief Steward this is Jun Xuanji. He once managed a world and is a capable person. In the future, he will cooperate with you to manage some things in the 9 grand floors. After all, he is familiar with the people I brought. Night Sorrow looked at He Qiu and said. Your Highness, don't worry. Your subordinate understands. He Qiu bowed. Xuanji, you must be respectful to Chief Steward He. Knight Sorrow looked at Jun Xuanji and instructed. Jun Xuanji nodded and bowed to He Chiu again. Now, let's talk about resources and cultivation. The pagoda behind me has the effect of accelerating time, up to 10 times. However, the consumption is as high as eating spirit stones. I can think of a solution to the shortage of spirit stones, but the most important thing is that we cannot delay everyone's cultivation. Captain Fei Xiu, Captain Shenhan, each of you will be given 10 spots in the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda. Those who have performed well and have high potential, such as the Qing Emperor's Guard and the City Guard, can enter to cultivate. Knight Sorrow pointed at the pagoda behind him. Accelerating time by 20 times consumed too much energy. Only when he was in a hurry would Knight Sorrow let Shao Kong accelerate time on the top floor. Your Highness, can we enter to cultivate? Shenhan's eyes lit up. You, Fei Xiu, and Chief Steward He can all enter to cultivate. However, remember one thing. You must arrange the matters at hand properly. I don't want to see any mistakes. However, it's better not to enter for the time being. There are too many things to arrange and deal with. Knight Sorrow looked at Fei Xiu and the other two and instructed them. Fei Xiu and the other two bowed. They knew that this was an opportunity. It was very difficult to cultivate in a state of accelerated time. Genuine Chief Steward He, profound secrets, you two make the arrangements. The 9 grand floors will be accepting king pills and king artifacts. You can customize them according to your requirements. As for the price, you can decide for yourselves. Also, there is one more important matter. Uncle Xia's instructions in the 9 grand floors are equivalent to my orders, Knight Sorrow said to everyone. After giving his instructions, Knight Sorrow said that there would be a banquet in the garden next to the martial arts practice field for everyone to get to know each other. Knight Sorrow returned to his study, followed by Summer City. In the past, he was Qing Emperor's shadow. Now, he was Knight Sorrow's personal bodyguard. Uncle Xia, is there anything I need to add to my arrangements? Knight Sorrow asked as he brewed a pot of tea. Your Highness's arrangements are very good, but your Highness is personally refining pills and refining tools. Isn't this too tiring? It will also delay your Highness's own cultivation, Summer City asked. Our 9 grand floors has just risen. Resources are the biggest problem. I will accept refining pills and refining tools. I can more or less earn some money. In addition, I can improve my proficiency and experience in refining pills and refining tools. When I have free time, I can cultivate my combat skills, Knight Sorrow said. Summer City nodded. He knew that Knight Sorrow's arrangements were right and reasonable. What the 9 grand floors needed now was to accumulate resources. While Knight Sorrow and Summer City were talking, Fei Xiu and Shenhan arrived. Each of them brought someone with them. Your Highness, this guy is suitable to cultivate my cultivation method. I want to give him some pointers. If he is suitable, I want to accept him as my disciple, Shenhan pointed to Ren Tianji behind him. Okay. As long as he is willing, there is no problem, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Commander, Senior Shen is willing to give me pointers. Ren Tianji is more than happy to. Ren Tianji bowed to Knight Sorrow. In the reincarnation world, don't call me commander. Only the Legion commander is qualified to be called commander. Knight Sorrow shook his head. Pass down the message. In the future, except for your Highness's elders, everyone will call you your Highness, Summer City said. After hearing Summer City's words, several people in the hall bowed. Captain Fei Xiu, Captain Shen brought one person. How many did you bring? Knight Sorrow asked with a smile. At this time, Liang Yu, Yun Huang, and Ling Long were behind Fei Xiu. I have a few more, but I can't. Otherwise, I would have brought all of them, Fei Xiu bowed and said. Ling Long, who did Captain Fei Xiu choose? Knight Sorrow looked at Ling Long and asked with a smile. Captain. Your Highness, Senior Fei Xiu chose Ning Yun, Qiyue, and Nian Shao. Ling Long cupped her hands and said. Knight Sorrow turned his head and smiled helplessly. Fei Xiu's eyesight was pretty good. He was trying to poach all of his people. Your Highness, what's the situation? Summer City asked. Uncle Summer, Ningyun, and Chiyue are my disciples. Yin Yan Xiao is my younger sister, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. When Knight Sorrow said this, Fei Xiu felt a little embarrassed. Summer City reached out and pointed at Fei Xiu, not knowing what to say. Captain Fei Xiu, how about this? It's fine if my two disciples are stubborn, but my little sister has cultivated well with you. You can take the 4 of them. Yi Shang made his decision after thinking for a while. Okay. Your Highness, don't feel sorry for your younger sister and find trouble with me. Fei Xiu bowed. Don't worry. A strict teacher produces outstanding disciples. I know this. Also, make some arrangements. There are so many brothers in the Qing Emperor's Guard. Each of them will lead 1 or 2. These brothers have always fought with me in the 9 regions world. Their aptitudes are pretty good. Also, I hope they can achieve great things, Knight Sorrow said to Fei Xiu. Your Highness, I understand. Fei Xiu nodded. At this time, a guard came to inform Fei Xiu and Shenhan that many people were going to become Knight Sorrow's personal guards. Fei Xiu and Shenhan went down. Knight Sorrow's recruitment of personal guards had caused quite a stir in the Qing Emperor's city. His Highness's personal guards were treated extremely well. Their salaries were all given to the Qing Emperor's palace. Within the Qinglin Palace, Crown Prince Qinglin was wearing a Qilin robe. He narrowed his eyes and pondered. He already knew some things about the 9 layers building. Seeing Knight Sorrow grow, he couldn't control it. Then, Qinglin made a decision. He arranged for people to attack Knight Sorrow's 9 layers building. When Qinglin called for people and made the arrangements, an old man in a green robe appeared. The old man was wearing a long robe with cloud patterns. He had a crown on his head. His long, narrow eyes flashed. He was Qing Emperor's master, Shengguanhong. Your Highness, you can't do this, the old man said. Master, if we don't make the arrangements now, we will be passive in the future. Qinglin stood up and bowed to the old man. The one following him is Summer City. Do you know who Summer City is? Your Highness should know that no matter how many people you send, they won't escape his eyes. The result is that they will be killed. Then, there will be an irreparable crack in your relationship, Shengguanhong said. Do we have any way to stop him from rising? Qinglin asked. I told your Highness not to make a move easily. If you make a move, don't give others a chance. You have to kill them directly. Making a move now is too blind. It won't be effective at all, Shengguanhong said sternly. Chapter 1135. What do you think we should do? In the past, Qing Wan was the only competitor. Qing Wan was a woman and had a low chance of being promoted. However, this person was different. He had great potential and was a virtuous person. Therefore, it was hard to say what his father would do. Qinglin felt a great sense of crisis. Wait. For now, we should wait for him to make a mistake. Also, communicate with Princess Qing Wan. This outsider is your common enemy. Shengguanhong said. Qinglin's achievements were related to his future position. Therefore, he, who had been cultivating all this time, decided to help Qinglin find a direction. Master, if I'm not wrong, Qing Wan will probably try to win him over to attack us. Qinglin rubbed his forehead and said. The Qing Emperor made Knight Sorrow a prince. This was really a problem for Qinglin. He was no longer the only male prince. He felt a great sense of crisis. Don't worry. A battle of wits and courage. Be steady. The more critical the moment, the more steady you must be. Shengguanhong nodded to Qinglin and left the Qinglin hall. Before Shengguanhong assisted Qinglin, he held a high position in the Qing Emperor's dynasty. His style of doing things was ruthless and sharp. Therefore, the Qing Emperor sent him to follow Qing Lin. Qing Lin took 2 deep breaths and called for some people to prepare some gifts. Then, he went to Qing Yuan Palace. "Brother Crown Prince, how come you have time to visit me?" Qing Yuan greeted Qing Lin with a smile. "Since I have nothing to do, I decided to come here for a walk. It just so happens that my subordinates obtained some dragon incense and dragon pearls in the North Sea, so I'm here to give you some." Qing Lin waved his hand at the attendant behind him, and the attendant presented the gifts. "Brother Crown Prince, you're too polite. Sit. Come, make the best tea." Qing Yuan called to Bai Ling, "Is our junior brother not here? Call him over for tea." Qing Lin said. He knew that Knight Sorrow was in Jiuchong Tower and not in the Qing Emperor's palace. "He's not here. Should we send someone to Jiuchong Tower to call him?" Qing Yuan asked with a smile. She knew that Qing Lin was here to see her. "Since he's not here, then forget it. How's junior brother Knight in the Qing Lin army?" Qing Lin asked. "It's not easy to handle. Nominally, he was the deputy commander in the army, but didn't the commander and commander still have to give him face? It's hard to manage." Princess Qing Yuan sighed. She didn't speak the truth at all. She mainly wanted to see what Prince Qing Lin had to say. "It has indeed been hard on you, sister. However, we have the responsibility to guide his growth. If we don't let him stay in the Green Phoenix army, he doesn't know anything. If he impulsively creates an army, it will be very easy for him to create a mess." Qing Lin held the teacup that Bai Ling had made and said. Most P knew Chapter V, but he is a capable person, and his ability to lead troops is very strong. Our Green Phoenix army was able to beat up the Dark Abyss with him, and now we have nothing to do. Why don't Brother Crown Prince give us another defensive area? This way, the Green Shielan army will be able to relax. Otherwise, if there is no war, it is hard to say if he will leave the Green Phoenix army." Princess Green Phoenix said. The Azure Qielan Crown Prince was stunned for a moment before bursting into laughter. However, he was filled with anger. A large defensive zone meant more battles, and more battles meant more merits. In the Qing Emperor's empire, merits were hard currency to nurture subordinates, resources, etc. Green Phoenix's request was actually for Qing Lin to shed some blood. "No problem. Later on, I will let you guys have some at the border with the Green Phoenix army." Qing Lin's face was full of smiles. As for what he was thinking, only he knew. "Brother Crown Prince, don't worry. Junior brother Knight will be fine in my Green Phoenix army," Princess Green Phoenix said with a smile. This was also a disguised promise. After chatting for a while, Qing Lin left. During the chat, Qing Lin emphasized the stability of the Qing Emperor's empire. After Qing Lin left, Zhuo Tingyan came to Princess Green Phoenix's side. "His Highness Crown Prince is unable to stabilize. This is a good situation. We should also stabilize. We should even support the weaker Knight Sorrow." Of course. Knight Sorrow is not fighting now, probably because of his state of mind. Other than that, his own strength and the strength of his subordinates are not enough. I naturally have to support him. If the two of them fight, their reputations will definitely be ruined. At that time, Princess Green Phoenix laughed. Princess Green Phoenix didn't go to the Nine Chong Pagoda herself. She sent Zhuo Tingyan. After Zhuo Tingyan arrived at the Nine Chong Pagoda, he requested to see Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow received him in the main hall. "Zhuo Tingyan greets your highness." Seeing Knight Sorrow, Zhuo Tingyan cupped his hands and bowed. "Elder Zhuo is too polite. Please take a seat. Xue Shi, serve the tea." Knight Sorrow nodded at Xue Shi. "Thank you, your highness. It's like this. Princess Green Phoenix ordered me to send some things over." Zhuo Tingyan first took out a token and then a storage ring. Knight Sorrow looked at Zhuo Tingyan. He needed a reason and an explanation. The token is a token of 30 years of cultivation in the Samsara Palace. There are some resources in this storage ring. Your Highness has just taken control of the 9 Chong Pagoda and needs a lot of resources. Zhua Tingyan said. Thank Princess Green Phoenix for me. It's impolite not to reciprocate. Here is the soul fluid of life. I hope it can be of some help to Princess Green Phoenix. Night Sorrow took out 10 drops of soul fluid of life and gave it to Zhua Tingyan. After looking at Night Sorrow, Zhua Tingyan looked around and waved his hand to isolate the eavesdropping. Prince Green Phoenix went to the Green Phoenix Palace today. Your Highness knows some things. Your own strength is very important. Princess Green Phoenix means that your Highness will be safe in the Green Phoenix army. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. The situation was very complicated now. Prince Green Phoenix and Princess Green Phoenix couldn't bear to see an outsider like him living a good life. He didn't know what they were thinking, so he could only stay silent. Seeing that Night Sorrow didn't say anything, Zhua Tingyan left. He had achieved his purpose of coming here, which was to let Night Sorrow have some ideas in his heart. After Zhua Tingyan left, Summer City appeared. This old thing is up to no good. Your Highness needs to analyze his words. Don't worry, Uncle Xia. I can see the situation very clearly, and my heart is also very calm. Regardless of whether it is Prince Qinglin or Princess Qingwan, they don't want to see me do well. My appearance has broken the balance. What they do against me is to form an alliance or suppress me, said Yishan. That's right. The situation is as your Highness said. They also have their misgivings. Let's not talk about whether there will be any effect if they become hostile with your Highness. At the very least, it will leave a bad impression on His Majesty. Summer City nodded. Night Sorrow's opinion was the current situation. While Night Sorrow and Summer City were talking, He Qiu and Jun Xuanji came. The two of them sent out the notice that 9 Chong Floor was accepting custom weapons and elixirs. They had to bring their own materials. 3 sets of materials and 1 set of finished products. The main gimmick was that Night Sorrow had personally made it. I guess he will be busy. It's good to be busy. Jiuyun, how are you doing now? Night Sorrow looked at Zhu Jiuyun, who was walking into the hall. I seem to have a good aptitude. I have already comprehended 30% of the will of fire. If I succeed, I will come to the world of samsara and look for the area where the will of death manifests. Zhu Jiuyun stood beside Night Sorrow and said with a smile. Chapter 1136. Alright, I'll arrange it for you when the time comes. Seeing Zhu Jiuyun's rise, Night Sorrow was very happy. Yishang admired Zhu Jiuyun's style, aura, and character. When the time comes, I'll take care of it, Summer City said. Uncle Xia, Chief Steward He, Xuanji and Jiuyun used to be the leaders of 2 subsidiary worlds of the 9 regions world. They have the ability to manage and fight. What they lack is experience and experience. You can give them some pointers. Don't worry, Chief Steward He, I don't care who I'm close to, Night Sorrow said. Your Highness, there's no need to worry. I'm not young and know a little about your Highness. I came to the 9 grand floors to help your Highness, He Qiu said. At this time, Wu Lingfei and Yu Qing also came to the hall. They told Night Sorrow that Yi Qianhua, Yi Tian, and Yi Linghuan were planning to go out for a walk. I understand. They don't want to make things difficult for me. Let them be. Safety is a problem, Night Sorrow rubbed his forehead. Night Sorrow could understand what the 3 were thinking. They were Night Sorrow's seniors. The people of the 9 grand floors had to respect them. However, this respect was unfair to them. That's easy. I'll follow your Highness. Let Feishio make a few soul crystals for them. Chief Steward He can give them the 9 grand floors army token. No one will dare to touch them, Summer City said. All right. Aunt Fei, give them some resources. Also, tell them to come back when they want to speed up their cultivation. That's all I can do, Night Sorrow said. Yu Qing and Wu Lingfei then left the hall. Your Highness, that woman's cultivation is very high. She's a high-level life attribute Saint King. Her future will be very good, Summer City said. She was referring to Wu Lingfei. That's my most respected Aunt Fei. Sit down. I'll talk about some things from the past. Everyone should rest and relax. Night Sorrow waved his hand and had them sit down. Then, Night Sorrow talked about the things that happened in the East Snow Mountain after he became a disciple of the Medicine Valley. He also talked about how Wu Lingfei helped him. Other than your Highness, no one would dare to fight against a venerable at the 3rd level, He Chiu said with a smile. At that time, I couldn't find my parents, and Medicine Valley was still in danger. I was only thinking about how to increase my strength. As long as I could increase my strength, I was willing to do anything. Later, Auntie Fei became my closest relative. Along the way, Auntie Fei cared for me a lot, and I have always remembered it in my heart, Night Sorrow said. Your Highness, don't worry. I've seen that the people around your Highness are all talented. It's only a matter of time before they enter the king's realm. The true experts also rely on the accumulation of time after entering the king's realm, Summer City said. I've also prepared some backup plans. When I wasn't in the reincarnation world, I went to the boundless territory once. I was lucky enough to obtain some limitless longevity fruits and refine them into limitless longevity pills. It's possible for them to enter the Saint King realm. Saint Kings have a lifespan of 10,000 years. If they can't become a king in 10,000 years, I'll help them for another 10,000 years. I don't believe it won't work. Your Highness, you're too ruthless. Even His Majesty doesn't have such means. I know that only Saint Kings can enter the boundless territory. There are also King Realm cultivators in there. Summer City was stunned. I used some methods and opportunities. I'm quite lucky. The limitless longevity pill has been refined. If Uncle Summer or Steward he has anyone who hasn't entered the king's realm, you can come find me, Night Sorrow said. At this time, He Chiu knelt on the ground. Night Sorrow was shocked. He couldn't see through He Chiu's cultivation. He was at least a 6-star king. How could a 6-star king kneel so easily? He hurriedly got up and helped He Chiu up. Steward don't be like this. If there's anything I can do, I'll do it. I've said before that we're all family in the 9 grand floors. I have a daughter who's now a half-step king. Because of her pride, she refused to enter the saint realm with a normal attribute. Although she comprehended a high-level attribute, it took a lot of time. It's also difficult to enter the high-level attribute. When she reached the will of death, she was stuck. Her lifespan has reached its end. She's now in seclusion. I only have one family member. Tears appeared in Steward He's eyes. It's nothing. This is a limitless longevity pill. Just give it to her. Also, pass down the order. As long as it's a member of the 9 grand floors, they're to report it to the captain if they can't solve it. If the captain can't solve it, look for Uncle Summer or you. If not, look for me. Night Sorrow took out a limitless longevity pill and gave it to He Chiu. This is the luck and opportunity brought by someone who's close to being blessed by luck and virtue. It's the will of heaven. Steward gather everyone in the martial arts arena. Summer City said. He was a little emotional. Night Sorrow's character was bold and generous. He didn't have to worry about not being able to achieve great things. After everyone was gathered, Night Sorrow and Summer City went to the martial arts arena. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation He Chiu stood at the front and told them about what had just happened. She also told them about Night Sorrow's philosophy. Your Highness, our 9 grand floors Qing Emperor's guards and city guards haven't done anything for your Highness yet, Fei Xiu said. To be able to gather in the 9 grand floors is fate. To be able to live under the same roof in the vast 1,000 worlds, isn't that fate? I'm not doing this to curry favor with anyone, and I don't need it. Back then, when I led the god-slaying squad, I said that I don't ask for anything else. I only ask that after many years, we'll stand at the top and look back to see that all our brothers and sisters are still around. Fortunately, after following me into battle, no one in the god-slaying squad fell. This can be considered as me fulfilling my promise. Today, we're all gathered in the 9 grand floors. Let's start a new chapter, Night Sorrow said. In response to Night Sorrow, the members of the god-slaying squad pounded their left fists on their breastplates. They were glad to have a captain like Night Sorrow. The Qing Emperor's guards and city guards responded in the same way. They were pledging their loyalty. If anyone tries to harm your highness, we'll fight to the last person. This is for your highness's promise. What's the point of living without brothers? Fei Xiu stepped forward and said. In response to Fei Xiu, everyone said the same thing. Fight to the last person. Night Sorrow felt a little emotional. He waved his hand and dismissed the team. He and Summer City returned to the main hall. Your Highness, I'm going to see His Majesty now. I'll hand over the matters at hand. There's no need to worry about anything else in the future, Summer City said. Go. Send my regards to Master. Night Sorrow nodded. Summer City left the 9 grand floors and went to the Azure Sky Pavilion. He stood outside the Azure Sky Pavilion, waiting for the Qing Emperor to summon him when it was convenient. Didn't you come and go as you pleased? Why aren't you coming in now? The Qing Emperor's voice rang out. Summer City cupped his hands and entered the Azure Sky Pavilion. The Qing Emperor and Xian Daozi were drinking tea. Summer City, I'm not used to seeing you like this, let alone His Majesty, Xian Daozi said. There's a difference between now and then. Summer City shook his head. Tell me, how's my disciple doing? The Qing Emperor asked. If he's willing, then no one can compete with him. No one can take advantage of him. Summer City cupped his hands and said to the Qing Emperor. Chapter 1137. Isn't this evaluation too high? The Qing Emperor's hand that was holding the teacup paused for a moment. It's not high. Right now, everyone in the 9-story tower is united. If anyone wants to attack the 9-story tower and take it down, they can only kill everyone in the 9-story tower, Summer City said. His Majesty's Qing Emperor's guards and your city guards were taken down so quickly? Were they subdued and bought over? Xian Daozi was also a little stunned. No, it's because of His Highness' ideals. His Highness' ideals are to return many years later and have his brothers and sisters still around. In the past, he did it. None of the troops that fought with him in the 9 regions world died. Not only in the 9-story tower, but in the Thunder Army's Massacre God domain, His Highness' prestige is also extremely high. He will fight in every battle. He said that as long as we charge, everyone will be able to see his back. When we retreat, we will be able to see him when we turn back. He can give everyone a sense of security, Summer City said. Charisma. Strength can be improved, and authority can be fought for. However, this charisma is innate, and no one can learn it. He is very similar to me in the past, but I didn't do it as well as he did. Niu air is the pain in my heart, the Azure Emperor said. The Niu air that the Qing Emperor was talking about was the same as Xian Daozi, Shangguanhong, Zhua Tingyun, and Summer City. They were all old subordinates of the Qing Emperor, but they were killed by the people of the Red Emperor's kingdom. So for many years, the Qing Emperor's kingdom and the Red Emperor's kingdom were at odds. This was also the regret in the Qing Emperor's heart. His ability is indeed very strong, but why didn't he form an army? Xian Daozi asked. He said that he did not want your Majesty to be disappointed and sad. He did not want your Majesty to see him in conflict with your Majesty's children, Summer City said. The Qing Emperor nodded. He knew that this disciple was not wrong. His temperament was what he liked the most. On the other hand, the princes, including the Crown Prince and the Princess, were too utilitarian. If you don't form an army, that person will gain less merit points, and their growth will be slower, Xian Daozi said. Summer City, Please warn the Crown Prince and the Princess, Your Majesty. His Highness Knight Sorrow doesn't fight for anything, but if someone threatens the people around him, he will fight back. He has principles, but he's not a good-tempered person. It's not good for the stability of the Qing Emperor's dynasty, said Summer City. Let's fight then. Without competition, there would be no motivation. The few of them would not be able to shake the stability of dynasty. As for the losers, I will keep their lives and withdraw from the core of power. It's that simple. There's no need to worry about Summer City. I've lived for a long time, and I've come to terms with it. As long as my children can live, I can take a look whenever I want to. Nothing else matters. I supported Sandalwood and Knight Sorrow so that the Qing Emperor could have a successor in dynasty. I did it so that they could survive, the Qing Emperor voiced his thoughts. Summer City nodded, and then proposed that the city guard should step down and hand over their duties. However, the Qing Emperor refused. He trusted Xian Daozi and Summer City the most, so he had always kept them by his side. He meant that Summer City could visit the city guard if he had nothing to do. There were many commanders anyway. After nodding, Summer City accepted the order. This was the Qing Emperor's trust. When he had sent Shangguanhong and Zhuo Tingyan out, leaving only Summer City and Xian Daozi, it showed how much he valued the two of them. Summer City bowed and left. He had come to report, and now he was done. After Summer City left, the Qing Emperor sank into deep thought. This time, it wasn't just Knight Sorrow, Qinglin, and Qinghuan fighting, but also Summer City, Shangguanhong, and Zhuo Tingyan fighting. The Qing Emperor had his reasons for letting Summer City assist Knight Sorrow instead of Xian Daozi. Shangguanhong and Zhuo Tingyan were both feminine, and most of the time, they would use soft tactics. Summer City's personality was straightforward, and he would take care of you if you provoked him. This was his style. The Qing Emperor hoped that Knight Sorrow's side would be more firm. Only then would they be able to gain a foothold. Summer City was just right to assist. Your Majesty, Zhuo Tingyan is fine, but Shangguanhong and Summer City don't get along very well. Currently, they are competing, Xian Daozi said. Brothers, Summer City's personality is the closest to this emperor's. He doesn't like to beat around the bush, and he won't delay his revenge until night falls. In terms of combat strength, Knight Sorrow isn't as good as him, but in terms of strategy, he's an expert. Looking at his past, he has high strategies and a bottom line. Let's wait and see, the Qing Emperor said after drinking a pot of tea. Seeing that Summer City had returned, Knight Sorrow, who was studying the Qing Emperor's handwritten letter, looked up. Uncle Summer, I want to see that senior brother. Will Master allow me to do so? Sandalwood? Z has already gone mad. He's imprisoned in the Devil's Ceiling Tower's underground palace. You can see him, but why would Your Majesty think of this? Summer City asked. No matter how bad his situation is, he's still my senior brother. Let's go take a look. Perhaps there's something I can help him with, Knight Sorrow said. Then, Summer City told Knight Sorrow that Sandalwood could only be quiet for a while every day at 7 o'clock. In the evening, Summer City reminded Knight Sorrow that it was time. Then, under Summer City's lead, the two of them arrived at the Devil's Ceiling Tower in the western part of the Qing Emperor's city. It was a place where serious criminals were imprisoned, and it was guarded by the Qing Emperor's guards. When they saw Summer City, the Qing Emperor's guards let them in. They went deep underground, and there were layers upon layers of prisoners. Sandalwood is on the 9th floor, where the suppression is the strongest. It's a pity that a genius of a generation has fallen. Summer City sighed. Update F new. Fastest, up, there was only one cell on the 9th floor, and there was a man in black sitting cross-legged in the cell. His face couldn't be seen. There were black metal shackles on his arms and neck. Your Majesty. Summer City greeted in a low voice. Uncle Summer is here. The man in black raised his head. Under his disheveled hair was a resolute face. How are you? Summer City asked. I'm fine. There's only 1 hour of peace in a day. The man in black spoke with a hint of vicissitudes. Night Sorrow greets senior brother. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the man in black, who was Sandalwood. Senior brother. Sandalwood's eyes were filled with confusion. His Majesty has accepted another disciple. Other than Princess Sandalwood, this is his only direct disciple, Night Sorrow. He wants to see you. Summer City said. Very good. Junior brother Night, I've disappointed Master. You must walk on the right path. Sandalwood stood up and said. Open the door. Night Sorrow said to the Qing Emperor's guards. Knowing Night Sorrow's identity, the Qing Emperor's guards opened the door. Night Sorrow and Summer City walked in. Senior brother, there's always a way out. You're just temporarily lost. Night Sorrow said to Sandalwood. Sandalwood looked at Night Sorrow and suddenly laughed. Everyone thinks I'm dying, but I haven't given up. Junior brother, you're the only one who understands me. Night Sorrow took out a set of robes that he had never worn before and put it on Sandalwood. He knew that Sandalwood had once been glorious, but now he was a pitiful man. Thank you, junior brother. Let's go. It's time for the attack. It only lasts for an hour every day. Sandalwood shook his head at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow waved his arm and took out a tea table. He then started brewing tea. Chapter 1138. The tea that Yi Shang brewed was enlightenment tea. Enlightenment tea was a tea that could clear one's mind. Let's go. I can't hold on for long. Sandalwood's breathing was unstable. Have some tea. After brewing the tea, Night Sorrow handed it to Sandalwood with both hands. Sandalwood's hand trembled as he drank the tea. His breathing stabilized. I don't know what's going on with senior brother, but I think a peaceful state of mind is very important. In reality, senior brother has nothing left. Let go of everything and don't think about cultivation. Just be a normal person for now, Night Sorrow said to Sandalwood, who had calmed down. Looking at Night Sorrow, Sandalwood nodded. There's hope as long as you persist. I'll visit senior brother when I have time. When senior brother gets better, I'll bring you some wine. Night Sorrow left the prison with Summer City. After leaving the Devil's Ceiling Tower, Summer City told Night Sorrow that Sandalwood's strength in the Qing Emperor's dynasty could only be suppressed by the Qing Emperor. No one else could, so they could only imprison him. The Qing Emperor had no choice. Senior brother Sandalwood is a stubborn person. Now that he's fallen into a demonic trap, there won't be a problem if he can overcome it, Night Sorrow said. Back at the Nine Chong building, Night Sorrow saw many people cultivating on the training ground. The Qing Emperor's guards were responsible for the cultivation of the members of the god-slaying team. Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, Aoi, and Xueshi were cultivating under He Chio's guidance. After taking a look, Yi Shang was very satisfied and returned to the main hall. At this time, Sandalwood's face was red in the Devil's Ceiling Tower's prison, but he sat there quietly and persevered. His mind was filled with Night Sorrow's words. The Qing Emperor's guards outside were very surprised. Sandalwood would have gone crazy at this time every day, but today, an hour had passed. Sandalwood was still persevering. He was a determined person, but with the passage of time, his determination had been worn down. Night Sorrow's words gave him motivation again. After persevering for 2 hours, Sandalwood stood up. His new robe landed on the tea table that Night Sorrow didn't take away. Then, he waved his arm and rolled the tea table to the side of the prison. Only then did he begin punching the iron walls of the prison. The Qing's guards outside looked at Sandalwood was confused. Sandalwood was punching everywhere in the prison except for the tea table. And even if he did attack, he would change directions with bloodshot eyes. And after forging a custom-made sovereign weapon, Night Sorrow looked at the time and left the 9-layer building, once again going to the Devil's Ceiling Tower's dungeon. Junior brother is here. Sandalwood, who was sitting cross-legged, looked up. Coming. Night Sorrow took the tea table from the foot of the wall and brewed a pot of Tao Comprehension tea. While Sandalwood was drinking tea, Night Sorrow took out a small knife to clean Sandalwood's hair and tied it up. As long as you're alive, you can't lose your spirit. Okay, I'll remember. Sandalwood looked up and smiled at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't think much of it. In fact, Sandalwood hadn't smiled in a million years. Remember to clean this place every day. Night Sorrow took out some Holy Spirit stones and placed them at the foot of the prison. Junior brother, what are you doing? Sandalwood was confused. When I'm not awake, they can't come in. When I'm awake, whoever cleans this place will get a piece too. Night Sorrow explained his intention. Okay, junior brother, you're so thoughtful. Sandalwood nodded. Only right. Everything else is JZ or B. Piracy. It wasn't long before she went crazy. Sandalwood stood up. Junior brother, I don't want you to see me in such a sorry state. Night Sorrow nodded and left her a pot of Tao Comprehension tea. Senior brother, I'll come to see you when I have time, but alchemy and artifact forging are a waste of time. Sometimes I have to go to war with the army. When I'm not here, you can ask them to brew you tea when you're awake. After that, Night Sorrow left the Devil's Ceiling Tower. Night Sorrow didn't have much time to take on artifact forging and alchemy orders. He also asked Wu Lingfei to go back to the Nine Domains world and see if there was any more Tao Comprehension tea at Tiger's Roar in the realm of unbounded desolation. He could make some pills. He also asked Chen Chen if he could get heart-cleansing tea in large quantities. Night Sorrow felt that Sandalwood's current condition was ineffective with pills. What she needed to do was calm her mind and focus. Only when she was in a good state could they talk about other things. After telling Wu Lingfei about this, Night Sorrow also told He Chiu that he would buy these two types of tea at a reasonable price. When he wasn't busy, Night Sorrow would come to the Devil's Ceiling Tower. Every time Night Sorrow came, Sandalwood would wait for him with great vigor. When Night Sorrow came again, Sandalwood nodded. Junior brother's words are priceless. The tea is also good. Yi Shang smiled and brewed the tea. He was careless and scalded his hand. Yi Shang hurriedly patted it a few times. You're king. Why are you afraid of boiling water? Sandalwood asked. I'm king when I'm fighting. When drinking tea, it's better to be an ordinary person. Otherwise, I'll lose a lot of inspiration and enjoyment. Night Sorrow shook his head and continued making tea. Sandalwood trembled. Night Sorrow's philosophy was completely different from what she had seen before. When can we drink wine? Sandalwood asked after a moment of thought. Soon. When senior brother's mood stabilizes, we'll drink and chat. To be honest, junior brother likes wine. I like good wine. When senior brother is able to drink, tell me which restaurant in the Azure Emperor dynasty and I'll bring you their wine, Yi Shang said with a smile. You said it yourself. Senior brother will remember it. Also, you're still young. You've just arrived in the Qing Emperor dynasty. You need to hold your ground. Those guys aren't easy to deal with. Sandalwood sighed. After drinking a pot of tea with Sandalwood and chatting for a while, Yi Shang left when he sensed that Sandalwood's emotions were unstable. If I can change it, then senior brother will fight alongside you. When they were chatting, Night Sorrow told Sandalwood about his current situation. Sandalwood could feel that Night Sorrow wasn't having it easy. After Night Sorrow and Sandalwood had been together for more than 2 months, the commander of the Qing Emperor's guards reported to the Qing Emperor. You go every day, sometimes only a few days apart? The Lotus Emperor stood up from his seat. Yes. Most importantly, Her Highness Sandalwood's condition has improved. Previously, she could only stay awake for an hour. Now, she can stay awake for 4 hours. The commander of the Qing Emperor's guard said. Did Night Sorrow give Sandalwood some pills? The Qing Emperor asked. No, they just drank tea and chatted. Sometimes, they even laughed. However, His Highness Night Sorrow would leave when Sandalwood was about to act up. I know that was out of respect. His Highness Night Sorrow knew that Her Highness Sandalwood didn't want him to see her in such a sorry state. The commander of the Qing Emperor's Guard said. How rare, how rare. Continue to observe. If the two Highnesses have any requests, fulfill them. Report back if Sandalwood can stay awake for 6 hours. Xian Daozi, keep an eye on Night Sorrow's recent situation. The Qing Emperor ordered Xian Daozi. Fourth watch. Chapter 1139. Xian Daozi's efficiency was extremely high, and he soon had a result. His Highness Night Sorrow is currently collecting 2 types of tea, Tao Comprehension Tea and Heart Cleansing Tea. He's buying them at a very high price. Could it be that he has designs on Her Highness Sandalwood? Xian Daozi asked, somewhat puzzled. In all of Night Sorrow's life, he's never used his emotions to do anything, said the Lotus Emperor. What you're saying is blasphemy. Call Night Sorrow over. After giving Xian Daozi a bit of scolding, he went on to assign a task. When Xian Daozi arrived at the 9-layer building, Night Sorrow was cultivating his battle skills. When he heard his master summon him, Night Sorrow changed his clothes and followed Xian Daozi to the Azure Sky Pavilion with Summer City. Night Sorrow, why do you want to see Sandalwood? What's the point? Seeing Night Sorrow, the Qing Emperor didn't say anything polite. There's no point. No matter how glorious he was in the past, he's now in dire straits. He's a pitiful hero at the end of his road. I've become Master's disciple, and he's my senior brother. At the very least, I need to let him know that there are people under Master who care about him. Even if I can't do anything, I can still accompany him for a period of time, Night Sorrow said. Well said. I don't care much for him. None of my princes and princesses will care about this crazy senior brother. Xian Daozi, go make the arrangements. Give Night Sorrow 300,000 merit points and 30,000 Holy Spirit stones. The Qing Emperor tapped his finger on the table and gave an order. Master, you can't. I'll earn merit points. I'm a refiner and an alchemist. I have my ways of making a living. Night Sorrow bowed. Look at the original chapter. Everything I have will be passed down to someone who can take responsibility in the future. All right, you can leave. The Qing Emperor waved his hand. He was very happy today. Summer City didn't say anything and cupped his hands before leaving the Azure Sky Pavilion with Night Sorrow. What a sentimental person. Your Majesty, you've struck gold this time, Xian Daozi said. Qing Emperor shook his head. Just now, he had inadvertently wanted to see how Night Sorrow was doing with his cultivation, but as soon as he did, he found that he was being suppressed. He didn't understand why. He knew exactly what level he was at, and yet he was still being suppressed. Of course, he didn't say anything to Xian Daozi. Everyone had their own secrets, and as his master, he naturally had to help keep them safe. I really haven't paid much attention to Sandalwood these years. I hope he can persevere, Qing Emperor said. His Highness Night Sorrow's visit has changed Sandalwood's state of mind, said Xian Daozi. It seems that there is indeed a change in the state of mind. You should also go to other cities and help me find these 2 types of tea. Sandalwood, I have never given up, the Qing Emperor said in a low voice. Sandalwood was the Qing Emperor's first disciple, and the Qing Emperor had put in a lot of effort into it. They were very close. Now that there was hope, he naturally had to do his best. Xian Daozi also knew that. Back in the day, the Qing Emperor had wanted to cut the Gordian knot and get rid of Sandalwood so that Sandalwood would suffer less, but he couldn't do it. Uncle Xia, isn't this gift a little too valuable? Isn't merit strictly regulated? After leaving the Azure Sky Pavilion, Night Sorrow looked at Summer City and asked. His Majesty gave it himself. Sometimes, His Majesty will kill some big shots and opponents. Since he has no merit, he will use it as a reward. As for the Holy Spirit stones, the Qing Emperor's dynasty is His Majesty's. Tens of thousands of Holy Spirit stones are nothing, said Summer City. Summer City didn't say that through this incident, Night Sorrow's importance in the Qing Emperor's eyes increased. Night Sorrow did things that the other princes wouldn't do. It was inhumane. In addition to refining pills and tools, Night Sorrow would also visit the Azure Phoenix Army and Azure Phoenix Palace. Night Sorrow would also pass by. The soldiers of the Massacring Gods territory would welcome Night Sorrow every time he came. They liked this vice commander very much. Yi Shan would also point out the flaws in the cultivation of the joint attack formation. In addition, he would also explain some combat techniques to everyone. Qin Leitang would also come to take a look sometimes. He had mixed feelings. Night Sorrow was a qualified commander, but he was currently in the midst of a storm. Night Sorrow didn't stay in the barracks. He would return at night. He had his own nest. In addition to refining pills and tools, Night Sorrow didn't forget to go to the Devil's Ceiling Pagoda to chat with Sandalwood. Sandalwood's condition was clearly improving. She was stable for longer and longer. Senior brother, I can confirm that there are some problems with your mental state and mental state. The effects of medicinal pills aren't that great. Drink some tea and adjust your mental state. Once it's more or less stabilized, I'll think of another way for you, Yi Shang said. Sandalwood nodded. She knew that the Tao comprehending tea and heart cleansing tea that Night Sorrow got for her were rare and hard to find on the market. Night Sorrow then left because it was time for Sandalwood to act up. After leaving, Night Sorrow also had a plan. He would come back earlier tomorrow. This way, he could bring Sandalwood out to get some fresh air and see the sun. After returning to the Nine Chong building, Night Sorrow ate dinner with his wife and parents. Then, he went to study the Qing Emperor's letter. While Night Sorrow was studying the letter, Princess Qing Luan found a few of her brothers to chat with. She was dissatisfied with an outsider becoming a prince. Princess Qing Luan's words immediately resonated. The palace master of Qing Luan Palace, who had the position of majesty, was against this matter. The other princes who didn't have the position of majesty were obviously even more dissatisfied. They all wanted to teach Yi Shang a lesson. From the bottom of their hearts, they felt that they were nobler than Yi Shang because they had the Azure Emperor's bloodline in their bodies. After sending off the princes, Princess Qing Luan smiled. She felt that if Yi Shang was ostracized and sensed that something was wrong, he would completely rely on her. She planned to enjoy the pleasure of controlling a prince. The other two imperial highnesses in the history of the Azure Emperor dynasty, Zhang Tan and Qinglin, were not people she could contend against. The Qinglin army's furious Qilin army, which was the most elite troop, and the Qingluan army's strongest Thunderclap army were both troops of Zhang Tan's Nine Heavens army. The Nine Heavens army was reorganized after Sandalwood's incident. Two of them were merged into the Qing Emperor's Imperial Guard and the other two were given to Green Qilin and Green Phoenix. Night Sorrow didn't know what Qing Luan was thinking. After studying the Qing Emperor's letter, he went to the practice field to watch everyone cultivate. He also gave some pointers. In the evening, Yi Shan first went to a Bright Moon restaurant and found a table near the window that had a good view of the main street. After making a reservation, he went to the Devil's Ceiling Tower. Senior brother, I'm here. Change your clothes and let's go drink. Night Sorrow had the guards open the cell and handed a robe to Sandalwood. Okay. Master only locked me up. He didn't say I couldn't go out. Sandalwood smiled. Men, come open the lock. Night Sorrow shouted to the guards. Your Highness, I have no authority. This can only be done after the commander's order. The commander's order is good, but your Highness's order is not. Do you believe that when I recover, the first person I will deal with is you? Sandalwood was a bit angry. He just wanted to go out and take a look. Chapter 1140. Her Highness Sandalwood isn't in good condition. Putting aside the issue of orders, we must respect His Highness Night Sorrow's orders. This is His Majesty's decree. The commander of the Qing Emperor's guard came over and informed the guards. "Thank you. I will be back in 4 hours." Knight Sorrow said to the commander of the Qing Emperor's guard. "Farewell, your highnesses." The commander of the Qing Emperor's guard and the guards bowed. Knight Sorrow was currently very popular. Although Sandalwood was in trouble, she was still a highness. "Senior brother, I can't keep you outside. When you're more or less recovered, I will tell master." Knight Sorrow said apologetically after they left the Devil's Ceiling Tower. "Everyone knows what's good and bad. All these years, other than a few of my old subordinates, no one has come to visit me. It's not easy to come out for 4 hours. Where can we go?" Sandalwood patted Knight Sorrow's shoulder. "Of course, to Senior Brother's favorite Bright Moon Hotel." Knight Sorrow said. "Then what are we waiting for? Let's go." Sandalwood's body flickered as she flew towards Bright Moon Hotel with Knight Sorrow. Once they arrived at Bright Moon Hotel, Sandalwood sat down at the usual spot. After the two sat down, the banquet was served. "Senior brother, it's enough. We have plenty of time in the future," Knight Sorrow said. "All right. After 2 cups, let's have some tea." Sandalwood nodded. She knew Knight Sorrow was worried that she wasn't in good condition and wanted to go back early. After 2 bowls of wine, Knight Sorrow brewed heart-cleansing tea. The two sipped the tea and looked out the window. "Junior brother, do you know how long I've been locked up?" "Almost 5 million years. At that time, the Qinglin army didn't exist. It was my 9 Heavens army that ruled the world," Sandalwood said emotionally. "Don't worry. As long as you're alive, there's always a chance. Stay true to your heart," Knight Sorrow said. Just as the two of them were talking, 2 young men in brocade robes arrived. Someone has taken the good spot. "Brother Tiger Emperor, just tell them to scram," a young man in a brocade robe said. "Brother Zhen, don't speak nonsense. Isn't this His Highness Knight Sorrow? You're good at eating other people's food." The man called Brother Tiger Emperor looked at Yi Shang with a smile on his face. "Can the two of you give me some face today? At any other time, Knight Sorrow is welcome to visit and apologize." Knight Sorrow stood up. "Do you have any face? Your face is given by our Azure Imperial Dynasty. This prince and brother Qinghu are true descendants of the Imperial Dynasty," said Qingzhen. "Senior brother, I'm sorry. It seems this matter needs to be resolved. This is a provocation. If you want to fight, then let's fight." Knight Sorrow stretched out his arm and Heaven Splitter, which had been nourishing within his dantian, appeared in his hand. "2 pieces of trash, can you make a fuss now? If I kill you today, your deaths will be in vain." Sandalwood took a sip of tea and stood up. "Your Highness Sandalwood." "You're Her Highness Sandalwood?" Qinghu's eyes were filled with fear. "Let's not talk about you. Ask Qinglin if he can speak loudly to me. Even if I kill you, I'll just be staying in the Demon's Ceiling Tower. Do you want to try?" Sandalwood's robe fluttered as she prepared to attack. "Sorry to disturb your Highness Sandalwood. We'll leave immediately." Qinghu, whose face was filled with shock and fear, pulled Qingzhen away. Knight Sorrow smiled at Sandalwood embarrassedly. "I wanted to bring Senior Brother out for a walk, but we encountered such a disappointing situation." Sandalwood shook her head. She didn't care about that at all. What she cared about was that Knight Sorrow could shoulder the responsibility and bring her out. After all, if Sandalwood got into trouble, Knight Sorrow wouldn't be able to get away with it. Knight Sorrow and Sandalwood drank tea and chatted casually. Looking at the people outside the window, Sandalwood was very calm. But when it was time, she stood up. "We should go back. In your words, there's still plenty of time in the future." After sending Sandalwood back to the Demon's Ceiling Tower, Knight Sorrow returned to the 9 grand floors to continue refining the orders he Qiu and Jun Xuanji received. He was very quiet, but it wasn't as peaceful below. Qinglin and Qingluan received the news. Qing Lin smashed the table in front of him. Sandalwood was someone who had once suppressed him. He only truly rose after Sandalwood's incident. It could be said that Sandalwood was a demon in his heart. Your Highness, there's no need to be so worried. Sandalwood is a crazy person. It's a problem with her cultivation. Medicine is basically ineffective. Even if she can stabilize it for a while, so what? If it could be treated, His Majesty would have done it long ago. Why would it drag on for millions of years? Perhaps it's the final radiance of the setting sun before her mental state collapses. Shang Wanhong appeared beside Qing Lin. That's true. I was too worried. If it could be treated, he wouldn't have been locked up for millions of years. Qing Lin smiled coldly. Qing Lin was very gentlemanly when it didn't concern his own interests. But when it concerned himself, he was ruthless and unscrupulous. Qing Hu and Qing Zhen were currently in Princess Qing Luan's Qing Luan Palace. They told her about their findings. Princess Qing Luan's face turned cold. She knew what kind of person Sandalwood was. If Sandalwood rose again, she and Qing Lin would be fine. Not to mention, there was still Night Sorrow who was favored by the Qing Emperor. If Sandalwood walked out of the demon's ceiling tower, the Qing Emperor's dynasty would be in a new situation. Damn it. This Night Sorrow really has all kinds of tricks. Your Majesty, go find him. Princess Qing Luan stood up and rushed towards the 9 grand floors. Zhua Tingyan followed behind her. Qing Hu and Qing Zhen also followed. They didn't care about Night Sorrow at all. While Night Sorrow was studying the Qing Emperor's letter, He Qiu came to report that Princess Qing Luan had brought Zhua Tingyun and the 2 princes with her. Understood. Maybe it's because of me and Sandalwood drinking today. Don't worry about it. Night Sorrow stood up and walked towards the main hall. Summer City also followed behind. When they arrived at the main hall of the 9 grand floors, Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Princess Qing Luan. Your Majesty is here. Have a seat. Forever free of charge. She glanced at Night Sorrow with her almond eyes and sat down with a smile. She knew that she couldn't force Night Sorrow at the moment. It was best to use conciliation to resolve the matter. At this moment, Qing Hu and Qing Zhen also wanted to find a seat. However, Summer City wasn't willing. This is the 9 grand floors. Without His Majesty Night Sorrow, there's no place for you to sit. Summer City roared. We are the princes of the Qing Emperor's dynasty. Why is there no place for us to sit in the territory of the Qing Emperor's dynasty? Qing Hu said unhappily. At this moment, Fei Xiu and Shen Han also entered the main hall. They heard Summer City's voice. Throw out those who don't respect Uncle Summer in the 9 grand floors. Night Sorrow said to Fei Xiu and Shen Han. You two be quiet for a while. Princess Qing Luan scolded Qing Hu and Qing Zhen. She felt that the situation wasn't right. This is the first time Princess Qing Luan has come to visit me after I entered the 9 grand floors. Servants, serve me tea. Night Sorrow shouted to the servant girl. Junior brother, Your Majesty heard that you went to see Sandalwood. Princess Qing Luan went straight to the point. Chapter 1141. Yes. After senior brother Sandalwood went mad, he has been locked up and has no one to rely on. I should visit him before I go to master. Night Sorrow said after taking a sip of tea. But he is mad after all. There is no point in seeing him. Princess Qing Luan shook her head and rejected Night Sorrow's suggestion. Bullshit. Humans need to be grateful. I don't know what will happen to him in the future. I will do whatever I can for him. Night Sorrow said. But Your Majesty doesn't think it is appropriate. Princess Qing Luan didn't agree. As Master's eldest senior brother, it is reasonable for me to take care of him. Please understand, Your Highness. Yi Shang did not back down. When he had first met Sandalwood, he had been deeply moved by her vicissitudes and decadence. Night Sorrow didn't back down. The situation was in a stalemate. Princess Qing Yuan thought that if she continued to emphasize this problem, their relationship would be bad. She even felt that she had to reconsider if it was feasible to rope in Night Sorrow. Should she work with Qing Lin to suppress Night Sorrow first? Princess, Night Sorrow has to follow orders in the Green Phoenix Army. Other times, please don't mind him. Summer City said. Your Majesty hopes that Junior Brother can have a smooth journey. Since Junior Brother insists, then Your Majesty won't say anything. Your Majesty is just worried that there are some voices in the Empire that will harm Junior Brother Knight. Princess Qing Yuan said. Thank you for your reminder. Night Sorrow cupped his hands. After drinking a cup of tea, Princess Qing Yuan left with Sua Tingyun. Qing Hu and Qing Zhen glared at Night Sorrow and also left. Seems like she is afraid of sandalwood. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Summer City nodded. She then told Night Sorrow about Sandalwood's situation in the Qing Emperor's empire. She even said that if Sandalwood came back, the Qing Lin army and Green Phoenix army would be unstable. Human feelings. You're lacking in human touch, Yi Shan lamented. After returning to Qing Yuan Palace, Qing Yuan sent Qing Hu and Qing Zhen away. Elder Zhua, the situation doesn't look too good. This Night Sorrow isn't easy to control. Princess Qing Yuan said. That is indeed the case. He looks very gentle, but there is a stubbornness in his bones. We can't force him, so we have to coax him. It's not worth it to offend him. It's equivalent to forcing him into an opposing position. Sua Tingyun shook his head. Today, he had witnessed Night Sorrow's unyielding character. It's not a good sign that he came into contact with Sandalwood. Princess Qing Yuan was worried. The Thunder Army was once part of the Nine Heaven Army. It was only after something happened to Sandalwood that she asked the Qing Emperor for an army. If Sandalwood can be restored, can His Majesty imprison him for 5 million years? He's already in the past. What's the use of someone who's only awake for an hour a day? There's no need to pay attention to him, Sua Tingyun said. That's right. Your Majesty is thinking too much. After all, Sandalwood is a cripple. Maybe one day his Tao heart will be in chaos and he will end his own life. Princess Qing Yuan nodded. She thought about it and felt that it was making a mountain out of a molehill. However, from this matter, Princess Qing Yuan also knew Night Sorrow's character. He was someone who wouldn't give in to anything he was determined to do. 9-layer pavilion. Your Majesty, Princess Qing Yuan has always been scheming. If there's no other way, just form your own army. Don't be tricked by her. Summer City was a little worried. Qing Hu and Qing Zhen came together. This proved that Princess Qing Yuan had already formed a group to go against Night Sorrow. Don't worry, Lei Tang Army Lord promised me that he wouldn't let me become a sacrifice in the Thunder Army. Night Sorrow said. Summer City nodded. He understood Qin Lei Tang and knew that with Qin Lei Tang's character, he definitely wouldn't do anything dirty. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided to meet the Qing Emperor to understand Sandalwood's situation and see if he could really cure him. When he arrived outside the Azure Sky Pavilion, Night Sorrow stood there. If the Qing Emperor wanted to see him, he would naturally be notified. If not, he wouldn't see him. Night Sorrow had just stood there for a while when Xian Daozi came to inform Night Sorrow to enter. What's the matter? The Qing Emperor, who was sitting on the praying mat, didn't open his eyes. Disciple went to see senior brother Sandalwood these few days. I tried to enlighten him and change his state of mind, but it didn't solve the root of the problem. Disciple wants to know what the root of the problem is. Night Sorrow asked. It's rare for you to be so thoughtful. However, this problem is very difficult to solve. If it could be solved, I wouldn't have locked him up. The Qing Emperor opened his eyes and looked at Night Sorrow. Then the Qing Emperor told him the specific reason. Sandalwood had a problem with his cultivation. Sandalwood was very talented. He cultivated the way of blood evil, but his control of the rules was lacking. Back then, he used external objects to break through to the Saint Plane. Then, he became a Saint King, and then a King King. The key to the problem was that as Sandalwood's control of his will became more profound, he didn't have enough support to understand the rules. Then, his soul was affected, and he often went crazy. The main reason is that the blood evil is too strong and overbearing. It is a branch of the supreme element, the destruction element. It is difficult to understand the rules. The Samsara Palace can help you understand the will, but it can't help you understand the rules. I can't do anything about it, the Qing Emperor said. Master, disciple may have a solution. Knight Sorrow's eyes lit up. He didn't have enough eyesight to see the root of Sandalwood's problem, but he had a solution. He had a blood evil destiny stone that others couldn't use. Even if he lent it to Sandalwood, it wouldn't be a big loss. You can solve a problem that even His Majesty can't solve? Xian Daozi said with a smile. His eyes were full of disbelief. I once had a blood evil destiny stone, Knight Sorrow said. You really have a blood evil destiny stone? The Qing Emperor stood up. Yes, but I have some treasures with me. I don't have the blood evil destiny stone with me, Knight Sorrow said. That's great. After 5 million years, Sandalwood's temperament is very good. If he can recover, it will be great for him. The Qing Emperor's eyes were full of light. Master, leave this to me. Knight Sorrow bowed to the Qing Emperor. Okay, go. The Qing Emperor nodded. The news that Knight Sorrow brought to him was very stimulating. He cared too much about Sandalwood, his first disciple. Knight Sorrow left the Azure Sky Pavilion. After returning to the 9 grand floors, he took the teleportation array to the 7 Nights City and then to the city in the sky. At this time, his original body was waiting in the mansion. Recently, Knight Sorrow's main body had been relaxing his mental state. His cultivation speed had been a little too fast during this period of time. His original body handed the blood evil destiny stone to his clone and continued chatting with Sikong Chuyu, Yang Lei, and Aoi. Knight Sorrow's 3 wives and Xuexi's clone were in the 9 grand floors. His original body was in the city in the sky. They planned to accompany Knight Sorrow for a while before going to the Spacetime Treasure Pagoda to cultivate. After all, as a sector lord, Knight Sorrow didn't have a child. Chapter 1142. Knight Sorrow took the Blood Fiend Destiny Stone and returned to Reincarnation Great World. He calculated the time and waited. Your Highness, if this is effective, the Qing Emperor's dynasty will change. It will be beneficial for your safety, Summer City said. Summer City knew that Knight Sorrow didn't want to fight because he wanted stability. If Sandalwood came back, he wouldn't allow Qing Lin and Qing Luan to suppress Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow nodded. He didn't want to borrow Sandalwood's power, but he would definitely be affected if Sandalwood came back. Knight Sorrow arrived at the Devil's Ceiling Tower on time. Junior brother, you're here. You're on time today. Sandalwood was a little out of breath. He had just stopped after a day of madness and wasn't in good condition. Senior brother, your chance is here. I've asked Master about your condition. You don't understand the blood law enough. Take a look at this. Knight Sorrow took out the Blood Fiend Destiny Stone and handed it to Sandalwood. This is an origin stone that contains the blood law. Sandalwood's hands trembled. This was too important to him. It was the key to solving his madness. Take it and cultivate well. I won't disturb you. When you can go out, come find me at the 9 grand floors. We'll drink until we're drunk. Knight Sorrow left Sandalwood with a pot of heart-cleansing tea and left. Junior brother, wait for me. It won't take long. Sandalwood shouted at Yishang's back. She then told the guards that no one was to disturb this place. She then sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. Solve the root of the problem. His Highness Sandalwood won't be long before he comes out. There's nothing to say about his talent. It won't take him long to comprehend the laws. He also has the foundation of the baleful blood law. Once he comes out, Qinglin and Qingwan will suffer, said Xia Cheng, who was beside Yishang. I've never thought about that. I'm helping him because he's my senior. As for the current situation, I'm not afraid. Qinglin and Qingwan can't do anything to me, Night Sorrow said. Summer City nodded. He knew that this was an unintended outcome. Look at the original chapter. After returning to the 9 grand floors, Night Sorrow would quietly refine pills and forge equipment every day. Then, he would study the Qing Emperor's handwritten letter and continue to strengthen the Emperor reincarnation / In the Azure Sky Pavilion, there were piles of ancient books in front of the Qing Emperor. He seemed to be looking for something. Xian Daozi stared in shock, not understanding what Qing Emperor was doing. After reading a yellowed book, the Qing Emperor waved his arm and the book turned into ashes. It was enough for him to know some things. Xian Daozi was stunned. The Qing Emperor had never been so cautious before. The Qing Emperor had an impression in his mind that the origin stones of the ultimate branch would only grow next to the ultimate branch fate jewels. They were associated with the ultimate branch fate jewels. In other words, the destruction branch fate jewels would have the void branch fate jewels. On the other hand, the destruction branch fate jewels would only be associated with the void branch fate jewels. The Qing Emperor had checked the book to confirm this. Now, he understood why Night Sorrow was suppressed. After experiencing it, he also knew what it was. It was the suppression of the ultimate branch fate jewels. The Qing Emperor laughed. In the past, he had taken in a destruction branch fate jewels as a disciple. He had been very happy because it was a ultimate branch fate jewels. In all the ultimate worlds, there were many high-level king and monarch branch fate jewels, but no ultimate branch fate jewels had ever appeared. Even ultimate branch fate jewels were rare. Now, the Qing Emperor had proven that Night Sorrow's body had a ultimate branch fate jewels. Otherwise, it would not have been able to suppress his space branch fate jewels. Your Majesty, why are you so happy? Xian Daozi asked. Nothing much. I just confirmed some things. The Qing Emperor shook his head. It was not that he did not trust Xian Daozi. He just felt that before Night Sorrow grew up, it was better to keep this a secret. After Night Sorrow finished forging a custom-made armor, Bei Xing arrived. Bei Xing told Night Sorrow that the Grey Cloud Sect, Moon Demon Realm, and Scorpio Realm had joined forces and started a realm war against the mysterious Sky World. Night Sorrow's face turned cold. How could this be? They proved that the mysterious Sky King obtained the soul cultivation fluid. They are worried that the mysterious Sky King will become the second mysterious Sky King, so they want the mysterious Sky King to hand over the soul cultivation fluid. Otherwise, they will wipe out the mysterious celestial realm and kill the mysterious Sky King, Bei Xing explained. The mysterious Sky King still hasn't refined the soul cultivation fluid? Night Sorrow frowned. 1 drop of the soul cultivation fluid cannot be refined without 100 years. It is too violent. It must be refined bit by bit to nourish the soul. Now, the Grey Cloud King, Moon Demon Realm, and Scorpio Realm King are not giving the mysterious Sky King the chance, Bei Xing said. Is there no helper in the mysterious Sky World? Night Sorrow took a deep breath and asked. There is no news from the 7 Rain King, so no one is coming. Only the Sea Waves King is helping, but he is not a match for the mysterious Sky King because there are other worlds without a king. The Purple Clouds King did not show up. The mysterious Sky King tried to persuade him, but it was to no avail. The 9 Clouds Realm will not participate in the World War of the 9 Clouds Realm. This is the mysterious Sky King's vow, so the current situation is very difficult, Bei Xing said. Then I will go back. Night Sorrow's face was full of murderous intent. He was very angry. The Grey Cloud King and Moon Demon Realm King were too shameless. Is it convenient for you? Bei Xing asked. It is convenient for me. It is not suitable for me to bring the people of the 9-story tower, but I can bring the members of the God-slaying team back. This happened because of me, so I cannot ignore it. If we cannot win, we will go to their backyard and start a fire. Knight Sorrow said his decision. Your Highness, it is also suitable to bring the people of the 9-story tower. The Qing Emperor's guards and the city guards came to the 9-story tower to listen to Your Highness' orders and fight for Your Highness. Now is the time for them to contribute. How can it not be suitable? Summer City said. In that case, gather the people. After thinking for a while, Knight Sorrow felt that it was not a big deal. Soon, the people of the 9-story tower were all gathered. Report the strength of the people. Knight Sorrow looked at Fei Xiao and Shenhan in front of the group and said. There are 31 people in the Qing Emperor's guards. 1 overlord, 3 high-level king, 9 mid-level king, and 10 low-level monarchs. Fei Xiao stepped forward and reported. There are 91 people in the city guards. 1 high-level king, 3 mid-level king, 9 low-level king, and the rest are Saint Kings. Shenhan cupped his hands and reported. Knight Sorrow knew that this was the organization. The captain of the Qing Emperor's guards led 3 teams. Each team had 10 people. The captain was an overlord, the captain was a high-level king, 3 mid-level king, and 7 low-level king. The level of the city guards was slightly lower. A large captain led 3 small teams, but each small team had 30 people. The large captain was a high-level monarch king, the small team leaders were mid-level monarchs, and each small team had 3 low-level monarchs. He Qiu, 7-star king. He Qiu stepped forward. And me. Summer City, who was standing beside Knight Sorrow, stepped forward as well. Chapter 1143. Uncle Summer, you are? Knight Sorrow looked at Summer City. Monarch, peak monarch, Summer City reported his strength. Knight Sorrow didn't know what peak monarch meant, but it wasn't the right time to ask. Captain Shen, leave a small group of city guards for manager He to guard the 9-chong tower. The rest of you, come with us. Knight Sorrow made the arrangements. Hearing Yi Shang's order, everyone bowed and accepted it. #genuine are 4-inch Beixing, where are the other monarchs? Knight Sorrow asked. The 3 monarchs are currently in the mysterious sky world. They're looking for Monarch Xian Tian, but Monarch Xian Tian can't show himself. He's not a match for them. Even if he shows up, he'll be killed, Beixing said. The 3 captains of the Qing Emperor's guards will lead a team to the Moon Demon world. Destroy the Moon Demon world's nest first, Knight Sorrow ordered. No, the Moon Demon world, the Scorpio world, and the Grey Cloud sect are all in the mysterious sky world. We can't solve the problem if we go to the Moon Demon world now, Beixing said anxiously. We can't follow other people's plans in war. That's too passive. Now, follow my orders. Go to Monarch Hailan. If you find him, crush your message crystal and go to the teleportation formation in Shantian City to find me. Even if I'm not there, I'll wait for you when I feel the teleportation formation breaking. Knight Sorrow took out a message crystal and handed it to Beixing. I'll go to the Sea Demon world to find Monarch Hailan. Now that the other side is strong, Monarch Hailan won't enter the mysterious sky world rashly. Beixing took Knight Sorrow's message crystal and was about to leave through the teleportation formation. Beixing, wait. It's useless to teleport to Chia City. The teleportation formation in Shantian City isn't safe. You can't go to the Sea Demon world. Manager He, take Beixing and go to the Qing Emperor's teleportation formation directly to the 9 Heavens world, then to the Sea Demon world, Knight Sorrow said to He Qiu. Rest assured, Your Highness. He Qiu bowed and left the 9-story tower with Beixing. The 9-story tower's interrealm teleportation array was connected to 7 Night City. Now, they were going to the Qing Emperor City's official teleportation array. City guards, our target is the Sky Dome Realm's Grey Cloud sect. Uncle Xia, our group will head to the Sky Profound World's teleportation array. If the Dark Cloud Sovereign and the Demon Moon Sovereign return to reinforce us, we will kill them immediately. Night Sorrow ordered once again. Yes, but no matter what, I must stay by your highness' side, Summer City said. His most important task was to ensure Night Sorrow's safety. Assisting him was secondary. Everyone left the Nine Chong building and went their separate ways. The Qing Emperor's guards and the city guards used the official teleportation array. They used the Nine Heavens Realms Interrealm teleportation array to attack the Demon Moon World and the Grey Cloud sect. Night Sorrow asked both groups to bring message crystals. If they discovered the other party's sovereign or sovereign clone, they had to send a message immediately. The Qing Emperor's guards brought Fei Xiu's soul message crystal, while the city guards brought his own. Night Sorrow brought Summer City, Fei Xiu, and the 9 regions world's people and teleported to 7 Night City. Then, they teleported to the Shantian City's Interrealm teleportation array twice. Let's block this Interrealm teleportation array now. Night Sorrow said after clearing the Interrealm teleportation array that was guarded by a few small fries. Night Sorrow had calculated that when the Demon Moon World and the Grey Cloud sect were attacked, the Demon Moon Sovereign and the Grey Cloud Sovereign would rush back to reinforce them. That would be the time to kill them. After blocking the teleportation array, Night Sorrow crushed the Black Sky Sovereign's soul crystal. As for whether the Black Sky Sovereign would come out or not, Night Sorrow wasn't sure. At this time, other than the Interrealm teleportation array in Shantian City, everything else was damaged beyond recognition. It looks like the war is quite fierce, but it hasn't affected 7 Night City yet, Zhu Jiuyun said. There's nothing we can do about it. War is cruel. Beixing informed us in time, so we came early. They just started to advance. They only destroyed Shantian City, Night Sorrow said. Your Highness, don't worry. The final winner of the war is the key. If we win, someone will compensate for the losses, Summer City said coldly. Night Sorrow nodded. We'll have to trouble Uncle Summer and Captain Fei Xiu. The enemy's sovereign is here. Only Uncle Summer and Captain Fei Xiu can fight. Summer City and Fei Xiu saluted Night Sorrow. They had to guard this place now. Your Highness, be careful. If many opponents appear, it will be a chaotic battle. Summer City was still worried. Don't worry. Xueshi, Jiuyun, go inform the Tianding King and Big Dipper King to come over. We'll block them here and fight. Night Sorrow instructed Xueshi and Zhu Jiuyun. Xia Qing silently praised him in his heart. This was talent. What had originally been a rather chaotic situation, Yishan had immediately found the crux of the matter. After Night Sorrow sent people to attack the Moon Demon World and the Grey Cloud sect, he brought people to break the teleportation array. What would they do if the Moon Demon World and the Grey Cloud sect couldn't hold on? They could only go back to help. That was a trap. As for the Heaven Mystic World, it couldn't be helped. Currently, the people from the various realms had just started fighting in the Heaven Mystic World. It didn't cause much damage to the Celestial Realm. Night Sorrow cared most about 7 Night City. Currently, 7 Night City was stable. If 7 Night City was attacked, Night Sorrow would know immediately. After a while, the Black Heaven Sovereign appeared. Night Sorrow, you're back. Hurry up and leave. The 3 sovereigns are attacking. We can't hold on. Hurry up and leave. The Black Heaven Sovereign reminded Night Sorrow anxiously. After that, he noticed Summer City and Fei Xiu. His eyes were filled with shock. I've already arranged people to attack the Grey Cloud sect and the Moon Demon World. They will come back when they receive the news. We'll block them here and kill them when we see them. Night Sorrow's face was filled with killing intent. My soul clone was killed by them. After they destroyed the Black Heaven Imperial City, they advanced forward to destroy the Heaven Mystic World. They're forcing me to come out. I have no choice but to avoid the battle. The Black Heaven Sovereign didn't look too good because he was afraid of fighting. However, he had no choice. The other party was 3 sovereigns. This is nothing. The sovereigns are still improving their strength. There's no need to fight to the death with them. We just have to wait. In addition, send people to inform the forces under attack to not fight with them to avoid unnecessary casualties. Also, send people over. We'll fight here, Night Sorrow said to the Black Heaven Sovereign. The order to avoid the battle has been given. If we can't beat them, we can only conserve our strength. Actually, they're afraid because once I refine the soul cultivation liquid, they'll be in danger. The Black Heaven Sovereign's eyes were filled with anger. That's good. We'll wait for them to come back. The way they come back is a dead end. Night Sorrow narrowed his eyes and said. After that, the Black Heaven Sovereign told Night Sorrow that the 7 Rain Sovereigns wouldn't come. He and the Sea Wave Sovereign had discussed it. If they weren't a match for the other party, they should avoid the battle first. The Black Heaven Sovereign sent people to gather people. The group of them waited at the Interrealm Transportation Array for the other party's reinforcements. Night Sorrow wasn't worried about the battle strength of the Qing Emperor's guards and the city guards. Without the sovereigns in their way, they could wipe them out. Chapter 1144. Night Sorrow set up a few more arrays around the teleportation array. He told his people not to step in. The arrays might be ineffective against monarchs, but they could trap ordinary kings. This way, they would have an advantage in battle. Yi Shang had deduced that the 3 sovereigns would lead troops from several worlds to attack the Heaven Profound world. However, after the Demon Moon world and the Grey Cloud sect were attacked, the Demon Moon Sovereign and the Grey Cloud Sovereign would return as reinforcements. The remaining Sky Scorpion Sovereign would not dare to stay behind. It would be extremely dangerous for a sovereign to fight alone in the Heaven Profound world. Therefore, the 3 sovereigns would definitely return together. The final battle was, in fact, a battle where the other side would return to help and break through the seal. Soon, the Big Dipper King, the Tianding King, and the other kings arrived at the teleportation array under the mysterious Sky Monarch's orders. Shang Tianfeng was also there. Shang Tianfeng looked at Night Sorrow with eyes full of anger. What are you staring at? Do you believe that I won't kill you right now? Fei Xiu noticed Shang Tianfeng's gaze and immediately became angry. He glared at Night Sorrow. Not many people in the Qing Emperor's empire dared to do so. Shang Tianfeng noticed Fei Xiu but did not dare to say anything. He could not see through Fei Xiu's cultivation, so the gap was too big. He knew that Fei Xiu was not bragging when he said he would kill him. I have a big grudge with him. We can slowly resolve it in the future. Night Sorrow shook his head. He's just a piece of trash. Your Highness, there's no need to lower yourself. Let me deal with him. Summer City also did not like Shang Tianfeng. Uncle Summer, forget it. He has a family feud with me. There's no need to rush. Night Sorrow shook his head. The mysterious Sky Monarch looked at Shang Tianfeng and sighed in his heart. He knew that Shang Tianfeng's fate was already decided. There was no chance of him turning the tables, unless he abandoned the Tiannan Empire and ran away. At this time, the Grey Cloud sect, the Demon Moon world, the Scorpio world, and the allied forces were advancing. They were already very close to Big Dipper City. Ahead is the Big Dipper City, the territory of the Big Dipper King. Didn't the Mystic Sky Sovereign think highly of him? Let's wash his territory with blood first. If he doesn't run away, we'll kill him. The Tsangyan Sovereign's face was filled with killing intent. The Demon Moon Monarch, who was wearing a dark green battle robe, shuddered as a soul crystal in his sleeve shattered. A man's figure appeared. Monarch, this is bad. The Demon Moon world is under attack. This subordinate cannot hold on. What's the situation? Is it that bitch Hai Lan Monarch? Moon Monarch frowned. No, it's a king's team led by 3 high-level kings. Their cultivation levels are on par with mine. This team is made up of kings. Monarch, think of something. After the man finished his report, his soul clone disappeared. 3 high-level kings are leading a king's team. Our demon moon world cannot hold on. This seat must return. The moon monarch's expression was ugly. He did not understand what was going on. At this moment, the Grey Cloud Sovereign's expression changed as well. My Grey Cloud sect is under attack. The leader is also a high-level sovereign king. There are quite a few sovereign kings as well. This seat's non-combat doppelganger has just managed to escape. This seat must return now. Then let's go together. This seat must return to the Scorpio world to take a look. Where did so many experts come from? The black-robed Scorpio king, who was wagging his tail, said. After cultivating for countless years and reaching the monarch realm, none of them were stupid. Even if the Tsangyan sovereign and the moon monarch retreated and the Scorpio sovereign stayed, they would not be able to do anything. Once the mystic sky sovereign joined forces with any of the other monarchs to surround and kill him, he would be in danger of dying. Then let's go back and solve the problem first. We will return later. This time, the 3 of us must get a share of the soul cultivation liquid. The Tsangyan sovereign's face was filled with killing intent. He did not understand who was causing trouble at this moment. The Tsangyan sovereign and the other 2 led their men and rushed towards the Mystic Heaven City's interworld transfer array. War did not allow the destruction of interworld transfer arrays. This was the rule of all worlds. The 9 Firmament World Group was like this, and so was the Paramount World Group. In the Mystic Heaven Imperial City, Beixing appeared at the interworld transfer array. Seeing the Mystic Sky Sovereign and the Big Dipper King, she was stunned for a moment. Then, she hurriedly crushed a message crystal behind her. Monarch Hylon was very cautious. She told Beixing to crush her message crystal after seeing the Mystic Sky Sovereign. When the message crystal was crushed, a spiritual body appeared. It was a simple clone of Monarch Hylon. Looking around, Monarch Hylon cupped her hands towards the Mystic Sky Sovereign. These are the helpers that Night Sorrow brought. We must deal a heavy blow to them. The Mystic Sky Sovereign said to the confused Monarch Hylon. Okay, this seat will bring people over immediately. Monarch Hylon said. After a while, Monarch Hylon brought a few king subordinates to the interworld transfer array of the mysterious Sky World. Mystic Sky, these guys don't plan on letting you live. After dealing with the mysterious Sky World, the 7 Rain World and the Sea Wave World, which we have a better relationship with, will not rest. I don't know what's going on with the 7 Rain Monarch. Why isn't she coming? Monarch Hylon said after arriving. I gave her the soul cultivation liquid. She probably closed her spiritual consciousness and focused on improving her cultivation. Night Sorrow said. At this time, there was no need to hide it from anyone. I see. But with our current strength, it's enough to deal with them. Monarch Hylon looked around, her heart full of shock. Monarch Hylon and the others knew that Night Sorrow went to the world of reincarnation to serve the Qing Emperor's empire for the 9 Firmament World Group. But now, he had brought back so many experts. Not only her, but the Mystic Sky Sovereign was also very shocked. Night Sorrow, I didn't expect to be one step behind you. Long Jean looked at Night Sorrow and said. Just enter the king's realm. Night Sorrow said to Long Jean, who came with Monarch Hylon. At this time, figures flashed. Many people appeared in the ordinary teleportation array not far from the world transfer array. They were the Tsangyan Monarch, the Moon Monarch, and the Sky Scorpion Monarch. Fight! Night Sorrow roared. Your Highness, which one should I kill first? Summer City asked. He was doing things according to Night Sorrow's wishes. He would kill whoever Night Sorrow didn't like. The strongest one. Night Sorrow knew that Summer City was the strongest here, so he could only arrange it this way. He personally wanted to kill the Tsangyan Monarch first. The Tsangyan Monarch was too shameless. The result was in line with Night Sorrow's plan. Summer City raised his battle blade and appeared in front of the Tsangyan Monarch in a flash. Your Highness wants you dead, so you have to die. Fei Xiu stood in front of the Moon Monarch, his right hand hanging diagonally. He was also holding a battle blade. Who are you people? The Tsangyan monarch's face was solemn. The situation in front of him had exceeded his expectations. LV4 however, Xia Ho didn't waste time talking nonsense with him. He raised his battle blade and slashed at the Tsangyan monarch. This blade was as heavy as 1,000 caddies, and the wind and clouds changed color. The speed of the blade wasn't fast, but it blocked all the Tsangyan monarch's escape routes. Chapter 1145. The Tsangyan monarch's expression changed drastically. He felt as if he was facing a huge mountain. No matter which direction he retreated to, he would be met with a saber strike. Unable to retreat, the Tsangyan monarch could only face Summer City's attack head-on. The Tsangyan monarch's weapon was a long sword. He brandished his long sword and stabbed toward Summer City's saber. Space shattered. Let's go. As the two weapons clashed, the area where the weapons clashed was filled with spatial cracks. The Tsangyan monarch was then pushed back a certain distance. Summer City held his saber with his right hand, and his body seemed to have changed positions. He was still at the same distance from the Tsangyan monarch. He slashed towards the Tsangyan monarch again. There was no way to dodge or escape. This was what the Tsangyan monarch felt at this moment. His opponent was too strong. Helpless, he could only use his sword to block the attack. However, he was still pushed back. The Tsangyan monarch's hair was sent flying, and the energy in his body was unstable. Xia Cheng's body once again moved absent-mindedly. When he reached a suitable distance, he once again slashed out with his saber. Universe's 7 kills. Let's see how many moves you can take. Summer City's voice was filled with contempt. The Tsangyan monarch was not his opponent at all. With a loud boom, the Tsangyan monarch's body was sent flying. Blood spurted from his mouth. 3 slashes. Summer City only used 3 slashes to send the Tsangyan monarch flying. The two of them were not on the same level at all. At this moment, Summer City's saber technique suddenly changed. He slashed his saber at an extremely fast speed. This saber seemed to carry the trajectory of the heavens, and the saber light slashed across the Tsangyan monarch's head. A red line appeared on the Tsangyan monarch's head. Following which, his body was split into 2. Summer City reached out and grabbed the Tsangyan monarch's interspatial ring and weapon. He then turned to look at Night Sorrow and said, I didn't kill him completely. He still has a clone or something like that. When a high-level cultivator killed an opponent, they would check whether the opponent's storage ring and weapon were ownerless or not. Since the soul imprint in the Tsangyan monarch's storage ring and weapon was still present, it meant that the Tsangyan monarch was still alive. Regardless of whether it's the original body or the doppelganger, it's a huge loss for him. That's enough. Night Sorrow nodded and turned to look at the battlefield. Right now, the battle was completely one-sided. Fei Xiu and Monarch Sky Scorpio were fighting fiercely, completely suppressing Monarch Sky Scorpio. Monarch Black Heaven and Monarch Sea Billow joined forces to attack Monarch Demon Moon. Monarch Demon Moon was also in a difficult situation. The Tianding King, the Big Dipper King, and the king that the Sea Wave Monarch had brought with him started attacking the Tsangyan monarch's men. Night Sorrow did not move from the beginning to the end because he was not needed. Your Highness, who else do you want to kill? Summer City was filled with killing intent. The outcome has been decided. Uncle Xia, you don't have to do anything. Night Sorrow shook his head. He was considering the fact that the other sovereigns had their own opponents. If Summer City were to fight now, it would be an unfair victory, and it would hurt the other sovereign's reputation. After the Demon Moon Monarch could not withstand the pressure, his body swayed and a doppelganger appeared. The doppelganger blocked the Sea Wave Monarch while the original body charged towards the Black Heaven Monarch. Originally, the Black Heaven Monarch was slightly stronger than the Sea Wave Monarch. However, the Black Heaven Monarch's doppelganger had just been destroyed by the others. The Black Heaven Monarch's original body was still affected. After charging at the Black Heaven Monarch a few times, the Demon Moon Monarch's body flashed and he wanted to escape. The most important thing now was to stay alive. He had seen what happened to the Tsangyan Monarch. If he could not escape, he would end up worse than the Tsangyan Monarch. The Tsangyan Monarch was not completely dead, but his original body and doppelganger were here. The Demon Moon Monarch was extremely fast. In a few flashes, he reached the Interrealm Transfer Array. If you want to run, leave something behind. Seeing that the Black Heaven Monarch could not stop the Demon Moon Monarch from escaping, Summer City waved his saber again. Block. The Demon Moon Monarch threw out a blue array disc. With a swing of his arm, a Saint Spirit Stone was embedded in the Interrealm Transfer Array. Shatter. The blue array disc was shattered by Summer City's saber aura. The saber aura continued to slash towards the Demon Moon Monarch. The Demon Moon Monarch's expression changed drastically. He waved the long sword in his hand to block Summer City's saber. The Interrealm Transfer Array had been activated. This was his only chance to escape. With a crisp sound, the Demon Moon Monarch's long sword was knocked aside. He was unwilling to leave the Interrealm Transfer Array, but he could not withstand it. This was the result. After knocking the Demon Moon Monarch's long sword aside, Summer City's saber aura continued to fly and cut off the Demon Moon Monarch's waist and one of his thighs. The Interrealm Transfer Array took away the Demon Moon Monarch's miserable cries and half of his body. Too bad I didn't kill him. Summer City snorted coldly. He did not chase after the Demon Moon Monarch because he had to protect Night Sorrow. Don't worry. He's probably afraid of death now. He won't dare to come out easily, Night Sorrow said. At this time, the Sea Wave Monarch and the Black Heaven Monarch had also killed the Demon Moon Monarch's doppelganger. Then, the two of them entered the King's battle group and started to kill the King's group that was formed by the Demon Moon Domain, the Grey Cloud Sect, and the Sky Scorpion Domain. As for the other peak battle group, it was the battle between Fei Xiao and the Sky Scorpion Sovereign. The Sky Scorpion Sovereign was very strong, but he was completely suppressed by Fei Xiao and was severely injured. It was only a matter of time before he was killed. At this time, the transfer array flashed and the Divine Night Sovereign appeared. Seeing this scene, he sighed because he could not stop it. Divine Night Sovereign, I was bewitched. Please help me talk to the Divine Night Sovereign. The Sky Scorpion Sovereign, who was in a sorry state, shouted at the Divine Night Sovereign. The Divine Night Sovereign's appearance gave him hope to live. If no one talked to him, he would definitely die. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Now, Night Sorrow is in charge. I can't do anything about it. The Divine Night Sovereign was helpless. Back then, he had tried to persuade him but failed. Night Sorrow, state your conditions. The Sky Scorpion Domain is willing to pay the compensation. If there is a war in the Sky Profound World in the future, the Sky Scorpion Domain will definitely fight. I am not the mastermind. The Sky Scorpion Sovereign shouted. Night Sorrow, why don't we listen to his explanation? If he can give a perfect explanation, then we can talk. The Divine Night Sovereign looked at Night Sorrow and said. He also did not want the 9 Firmament World Group to lose too much strength. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and waved his arm. Fei Xiao and the others retreated. State your conditions. Night Sorrow looked at the Sky Scorpion Sovereign and said. Compensation, I am willing to pay the compensation. Also, if there is a war in the Sky Profound World, I will definitely help. The Sky Scorpion Sovereign said. Xian Tian Sovereign, what do you think? Night Sorrow looked at the Xian Tian Sovereign and asked. You make the decision. I have no objections. The Xian Tian Sovereign nodded at Night Sorrow. They were able to win this war because of Night Sorrow. He naturally had to respect Night Sorrow. Then let's sign the oath. The Sky Scorpion Domain will be dealt with like this for the time being. The Demon Moon Domain and Ashen Cloud Sect still need to be dealt with. Fei Xiao, go to the Demon Moon domain and meet up with the Qing Emperor's guards. The rest of you, follow me to the Ashen Cloud sect. This time, I will raise the Ashen Cloud sect to the ground. Knight Sorrow made his decision. The Ashen Cloud Sovereign and the Demon Moon Sovereign did not have any bottom line. Therefore, Knight Sorrow would not give them another chance. Chapter 1146. Your Highness, don't worry. Resources. Collect all the resources and bring them to the 9 grand floors, Knight Sorrow said to Fei Xiu. Fei Xiu bowed and left the mysterious sky world using the interrealm teleportation formation. After watching Lord Xian Tian and Lord Sky Scorpio sign the oath, Knight Sorrow brought Summer City and the people around him to the Sky Dome world. Lord Divine Knight was a little stunned. He didn't expect this outcome. Originally, in his estimation, the Celestial Wonders world would be attacked as the Lord of the Xian Heaven avoided the soul cultivation liquid. After a few years, the Lord of the Xian Heaven cultivated the soul cultivation liquid, then the situation would change. But now, he could not react in time. Sky Scorpio, you have disappointed me this time, Lord Divine Knight said to Lord Sky Scorpio. In order to increase my strength, Sky Scorpio is a little obsessed. It won't happen again in the future, Lord Sky Scorpio bowed. Lord Divine Knight nodded and left. He knew that the situation in the 9 Cloud World Group would change greatly. Knight Sorrow could control the situation. After Lord Purple Cloud obtained the soul cultivation liquid, he told Lord Divine Knight. From this, Lord Divine Knight knew that other lords of the 9 Cloud World had obtained the soul cultivation liquid. These lords owed Knight Sorrow a big favor. In the future, if Knight Sorrow had anything to say, they would support him unconditionally. Lord Divine Knight was very clear about the situation. 9 Cloud World had an independent position in the 9 Cloud World Group because he had refined the soul cultivation liquid and was stronger than the other lords. In the future, this situation would no longer be the case. Besides, he also felt the terror of Summer City. He wasn't a match for them. After Knight Sorrow brought his people to the Ashen Cloud sect, they started attacking. Those who resisted were killed. Those who didn't resist were taken. The Ashen Cloud sect ruled most of the Sky Dome world. Knight Sorrow and the others started a realm war. There was no resistance, as resistance meant that they would be killed. Because Knight Sorrow and the others had acted quickly, not many of the Grey Cloud sect's resources could be transferred. Almost all of them had fallen into Knight Sorrow's hands. When he killed his way to the headquarters of the Grey Cloud sect, Knight Sorrow met an acquaintance, Zhang Guiyue, the very arrogant person from back then. Knight Sorrow took out Skysplitter and finished him off in a few moments. The two of them were on completely different levels. Back then, they had both been half-step kings, but now, Knight Sorrow was a 2-star king. The difference was too great, and Zhang Guiyue did not have the ability to resist. After that, Knight Sorrow plundered the resources of the Grey Cloud sect's headquarters. Captain Shenhan, take some people to the Grey Cloud sect's branch and collect all the resources, Knight Sorrow instructed. This was war. When the people of several worlds attacked the Profound Heaven world and the Xiantian Imperial Court, they did not hold back. It was a bloodbath. Knight Sorrow and Summer City stayed at the Grey Cloud sect's headquarters. Knight Sorrow was not worried about the people of the Demon Moon world. It was hard to say if the Demon Moon world lord would return. Even if he did, he might not dare to come out. Besides, so what if the Demon Moon monarch came out? He was not a match for Fei Xiu. Even if he came out, he would be killed. Every day, news would be reported to Knight Sorrow. Every day, there would be small captains of the city guard army coming to deliver resources to Knight Sorrow. Half a month after Knight Sorrow set up camp, no beginning sovereign came. Ignoring sovereign brought black wind with him. At this moment, Chen Bai and Qing Yin were still cultivating. Although he was unhappy, Knight Sorrow still received him. As if he could feel Knight Sorrow's dissatisfaction, no beginning sovereign looked apologetic. After receiving the resources you gave me, my original body closed its spiritual consciousness and cultivated. My clone went to another world. Therefore, I did not make it in time to stop the Grey Cloud sect. Night Sorrow, it's true. I need materials. I need a material to cultivate a special clone. Master went to help me with this matter and is not in the Sky Dome world, Black Wind said to Night Sorrow. So that's the case. Then I misunderstood. Men, serve tea, Night Sorrow shouted. In fact, Night Sorrow was unhappy. He had given a few sovereigns the soul cultivation liquid, but no one came to help the profound heaven world at the crucial moment. Genuine Initialer, no matter what, I am sorry, no beginning sovereign apologized again. No matter who gets the soul cultivation liquid, they will put everything aside to cultivate. They will do everything to increase their strength. At this stage, they do not want to be disturbed. Night Sorrow nodded. Some things were just emotions. However, he understood that anyone who got the soul cultivation liquid would make such a decision. Night Sorrow, I have another request this time. It is about the Grey Cloud sect. I don't care about the resources. However, the Sky Dome world needs stability, no beginning sovereign said as he stood up. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow nodded, all right, I will ask my men to withdraw. You can take over the Grey Cloud sect. I thank you here. Here are some resources from Boundless Mountain. Consider it compensation. No beginning sovereign took out 2 storage rings and placed them in front of Night Sorrow. There is no need. Boundless Mountain cannot bear the consequences of the Grey Cloud Sovereign's sins. However, I do not wish for the Grey Cloud Sovereign to cause any more trouble. Night Sorrow shook his head. He did not accept the resources. What I can guarantee is that he will not be allowed to form any more forces in the Sky Dome world, no beginning sovereign promised. No beginning sovereign left the Grey Cloud sect's headquarters with his disciples and the resources that Night Sorrow refused. There is no big trouble. If there is, I will not be able to answer to him. After leaving the Grey Cloud sect's headquarters, no beginning sovereign sighed. How long has it been? This fellow is doing so well. The strength of his subordinates is so strong. Haifeng's face was filled with shock. They used to be friends. However, the gap between them was too big. He did not even have the chance to speak. Fate. Back then, he went to the world of reincarnation to serve the Azure Imperial Dynasty for the sake of the 9 Firmament World Group. That's why he had another fate. He fought for the 9 Firmament World Group, which means that he was blessed with good karma and luck. There's no benefit in fighting against him. That old man beside him is an absolute expert. The Tsangyan sovereign's true body was killed. What survived should be a secret technique clone. Although it can still survive, it won't be able to improve much in the future. Moon Demon Realmlord also suffered great losses this time. No beginning sovereign also disliked the Grey Cloud Sovereign. For the sake of the Sky Dome world's strength, he had been enduring. Now, he had fallen. This old fellow is usually too arrogant. This time, he kicked an iron plate. The only good thing is that he is sharpening his head. Serves him right. Haifeng scolded. Go back and enter seclusion. Work hard. Originally, you were the same. Now, look at the difference. No beginning sovereign glanced at Haifeng. Night Sorrow stood in front of the Grey Cloud sect's headquarters and thought. He felt that the Grey Cloud Sovereign was still a scourge. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.